Chapter 19. Shi Xueyan once again showed her domineering level, making the three elders speechless, especially the second elder. Even if Yi Tianyan can hold his head high now, he still can't help but scold him. All this is because she is too timid, thinking that everything should be low-key. But this is no longer low-key. Excessive compromise will only make people think that she is easy to bully. Palace Lord, you can't be too rash. If it really triggers a war, it will be extremely disadvantageous to Jade Palace. Third elder couldn't help but stand up and speak. It seems that you are all too worried. Do you think this Master Kong can set off a big storm? He is just a third-level blacksmith. Tianyan's level is higher than him. If he really spoke out, who would be willing to stand beside him? Shi Xueyan solemnly said. If Yi Tianyan's level is better than Master Kong, those families must be willing to lean to his side, not to Master Kong. They want the strong, not the weak. Tianyan's level is a little higher, but overall not much higher. This can't form a big advantage, plus he doesn't have any connections. Second elder retorted again. So you're saying that if my level is much higher than his, you guys won't have anything to say? Yi Tianyan said indifferently. If that's the case, then I will refine a few more spirit swords, and the elders will know the result. Although the elders are always against him, but it is undeniable that they are all thinking for Jade Palace. In order not to make things difficult for Shi Xueyan, he can only stand up to help. Then, Yi Tianyan threw the materials into the furnace again, and began to refine the spirit tool. The initial action is no different from before, but immediately a very hot flame was released from his palm. And then he threw it into the furnace, and quickly quenched the spirit tool. The speed is a lot faster all of a sudden, and the speed of refining impurities is also improved a lot. What kind of flame is this? They were all stunned. Generally speaking, those who could possess special flames were experts who were born to play with fire. Otherwise, they would have absorbed special flames to be able to have such an effect. They didn't expect that Yi Tianyan also has this special flame. Shi Xueyan also widened her beautiful eyes. She felt incredible. She didn't expect Yi Tianyan to be able to do this. It is beyond her imagination. They are all guessing how Yi Tianyan refined it, but they didn't expect him to add a special flame. Does it mean that he didn't expose his full strength in front of Master Kong? The actual situation is certainly not like this. Yi Tianyan must have used all his strength before. He just got the flame. Otherwise, how can he use it? Soon a spirit tool was refined by him, and after pulling it out, it fell in his hand. This spiritual sword was even stronger than the previous one. It was emitting a cold aura. This was at least a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Middle-grade spirit weapon? They were stunned when they saw it. The price difference between low-grade and mid-grade was huge. Not to mention the power, the price difference is about 2 or 3 times. For example, a low-grade spirit tool is 30,000 silver. Then a middle-grade spirit tool will sell as high as 60 or 70,000. This number can only be higher. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyan for gaining 50 proficiency. After successfully refining a middle-grade spirit tool, his proficiency soared to 50 points, 5 times more than before. If he refines it in this way, it is not difficult to upgrade. This is also thanks to the immortal fire. When refining with the immortal fire, the levels suddenly rose. Otherwise, with his current level of refining a middle-grade spirit tool, the success rate is only 30%, but with the immortal fire, the success rate can be increased to more than 80%. Fortunately, he did not fail. Otherwise it would be embarrassing. It really is a middle-grade spirit tool. You can even refine a middle-grade spirit tool. They are all shocked. This is the strength that Yi Tianyan just said. This is the best proof. This time they have nothing to say. What else can they say? His strength was much stronger than that of Master Kong. When he stood at the side of the family, a group of people invited him to be a guest. 3 elders, I don't know this level compared to that Master Kong? Yi Tianyan said indifferently. This I am convinced. Great elder is convinced. She didn't expect that in the end. Shi Xueyan's vision is the most correct. They are really old, they can't see clearly. Palace Lord, if there is nothing else, I will go back first. I will listen to your instructions in the future. Second elder sighed deeply. She can't raise the slightest bit of rejection in her heart. With this level, her disciple is no longer qualified to compete with him. This is the benefit of one more skill, one more advantage they can't compare. Third elder also left. They have to go back to rest, but this matter is also a big impact on them. In the future, Shi Shuyan's position is undoubtedly unshakable. As she said, Jade Palace can't continue to be bullied by others. This time the quota for heaven's immersing ancient ruins is the same. Spirit sect wants to forcibly snatch it, thinking that Jade Palace is easy to bully. That is to force a duel with them. Whoever loses has to give up a spot. Each force has different spots. Jade Palace only has 2 spots. If they lose before, there will be only 1 spot left. It will be even more embarrassing. After they left, Master Kong's spirit sword was pulled out by Yi Tianyan and handed it to Xiao Lian and said, "Sister Xiao Lian, this spirit sword is for you." This. Young master, this is a spirit sword. Xiao Lian hurriedly refused. What spirit sword? Before that Master Kong bullied you. This spirit sword is for you. Yi Tianyan hurriedly refused. Since Tianyan gave it to you, just take it. This is still a low-grade spirit sword. You see, he can refine a middle-grade spirit sword. He can even refine a low-grade spirit sword. Shi Shuyan motioned to Xiao Lian to take the spirit sword. Well, thank you, young master. Thank you, Palace Lord. Xiao Lian is excited. Getting a spirit sword is a great help to her. Many disciples in the palace don't have a spirit weapon, but she has one. Then I will continue to refine the rest of the materials, so that we have equipment. Yi Tianyan smiled and said, "How about this? Take out all the materials. I will continue to refine a batch of spirit swords, so that all the sisters are equipped with spirit sword, so that no one will dare to bully our Jade Palace." Chapter 20. Since you said so, then I won't be polite. I will immediately order people to prepare the materials, and continue to forge a batch of spirit swords for you. Shi Shuyan certainly won't be polite. Jade Palace usually has no money to hire a third-level blacksmith to forge, and the cost is not low. The material cost is already a lot, and hiring a third-level blacksmith, the price is not low. Now with Yi Tianyan's help, there is no doubt that they can use less money to forge more spirit tools. This is enough to improve the strength of the entire Jade Palace by a lot. Ding! Congratulations to player, Yi Tianyan. Accepted the task. Complete the forging task arranged by Shi Shuyan. The reward is 5,000 EXP, 10 points of favorability. Hey, another task is triggered. This time there is favorability? Yi Tianyan was stunned. He didn't expect this favorability to increase. Thinking about it, the previous tasks he did were not to help an individual. They were all group or enemy. Knocking down the enemy will obviously increase the hatred, not the favorability. What's special this time is that he has Shi Shuyan's favorability. I don't know if I can see Ant's favorability. Under Yi Tianyan's thoughts, he immediately saw Shi Shuyan's favorability towards him. 330 points. He doesn't know what this concept is, but he quickly listed the standard. 0 points of favorability, passerby. 10 points of favorability, initial meeting. 100 points of favorability, good friend. 200 points of favorability, relative or lover. 300 points of favorability, inseparable in life and death. This is divided into these stages. There are also negative favorability, but he didn't see it. If Master Kong didn't leave before, he will definitely see negative favorability. Ant's favorability to me is so high. Yi Tianyan was stunned. This is not very unexpected. The favorability is too high. It already belongs to the level of inseparable in life and death. Continue to increase favorability. Will it have any effect? What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Shi Shuyan blinked. She didn't know why Yi Tianyan was staring at her. Nothing. I just think that auntie is really beautiful. Yi Tianyan smiled. Nonsense. Shi Shuyan stretched out her hand and lightly hit him. Her pretty face blushed and she immediately snorted. I'll go prepare the materials first. You go get ready. Very quickly, she had people bring a lot of materials over. Yi Tianyan accepted all of them and started to forge weapons like crazy. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyan. for successfully forging a mid-grade spiritual weapon, plus 50 proficiency points, 1,000 experience points. Not only was he able to refine spiritual weapons, he was also able to obtain 1,000 experience points. This was not a small gain. With a thought, he immediately activated crazy mode the next time he was about to successfully refine it, so that the experience bonus became twice as much. Although it consumed a bit of crazy point, it's still worth it. It's a pity that the proficiency didn't increase. Maintaining this situation, Tianyan only activated crazy mode when he was ready to successfully refine. Otherwise, from the beginning to the end, no amount of crazy point is enough. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan for successfully forging a mid-grade spiritual weapon, plus 50 proficiency points, 2,000 experience points. His experience is skyrocketing. He is completely smiling while refining. Other people refining consume spiritual power. He also consumes spiritual power, but the return is visible. If he continues to refine, not only his cultivation will break through, but his forging level will also increase. Soon, all the materials are finished. 8 spiritual weapons, in fact, is not a lot. The materials here are also very limited. Originally, Jade Palace's resources are limited. Naturally, they can't provide more. These materials were originally for Master Kong to continue to forge, but now it's his turn to forge. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan for completing the quest, plus 5,000 experience points. Increase Shuiyan's favorability by 10 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan for successfully leveling up to 2nd level of Spirit Refinement Realm. The system sound immediately sounded. After completing this quest, the level suddenly increased. This is really just refining spiritual weapons, and you can easily break through. Who else can have this kind of treatment? Is that all? Tianyan said to Shuiyan. He is still a little bit unsatisfied. He wants to improve his forging ability, and also wants to increase the experience, the more the better. That's it for the time being. I can't believe it's a success. These are all middle-grade spirit tools. Sure, Shuiyan is going crazy. So many spirit tools. This will undoubtedly make Jade Palace more powerful. Hehe. As long as Aunt let me refine, there is no problem. By the way, is there any spirit medicine? I can also refine pills. Tianyan laughed. You can also refine pills? Sure, Shuiyan is dumbfounded. This is a little bit. Tianyan touched his nose, a little embarrassed. After having immortal fire, refining will be a lot easier. Really? Sure, Shuiyan hugged him and said ecstatically. Great, if you can really refine pills like this, we don't need to look at other people's face anymore. Tianyan touched his nose, feeling this warm fragrance. This benefit is very good. But we don't have any spirit medicine here. We can only go outside to buy. Sure, Shuiyan didn't care too much, and immediately said, how about this? I will immediately order people to buy some, including refining materials. Buy some? Tianyan's eyes lit up. He hasn't gone outside since he came here, and immediately volunteered. Aunt, why don't you send me down there to buy some, and sell some spirit tools to earn more money to subsidize Jade Palace? It's not a bad idea to let you go down there. You can treat it as an experience. Sure, Shuiyan nodded, and immediately said, unfortunately, I can't go with you, but I can send someone to go with you. Well, I will send in Ling and Qin Shui to go with you. They are both companions who will enter heaven's immersing ancient ruins with you. Take this opportunity to get familiar with them, so it will be easier to cooperate with them. No problem. I will do as Aunt said. Tianyan smiled. This is also a good idea. He can act with them, increase the degree of tacit understanding, and cooperate with them in heaven's immersing ancient ruins. If they are all cold, how can they cooperate? That's good. I will arrange it now. Sure, Shuiyan snorted happily, smiled and went outside to talk with the elders. Looking at Sure Shuiyan's cheerful back, Tianyan's heart warmed. In his impression, he rarely saw Sure Shuiyan smile so happily. On one hand, she is busy with Jade Palace's affairs. On the other hand, she is busy with his affairs. How can she smile? Chapter 21. In a blink of an eye, a few days passed. Sure Shuiyan has arranged everything. let Ling and Qin Shui accompany him down the mountain to purchase materials. When he came to the lobby of Jade Palace, Shi Shuiyan was already waiting there. She was discussing something with two young girls. When he approached, Shi Shuiyan turned her head and smiled at him. Come here. This is Ling and Qin Shui. They will go with you to purchase materials this time. If there is anything you don't understand on the way, you can ask them. On the way, please take care of me, senior sister Ling and senior sister Qin Shui. If there is anything I didn't do well, please point it out. Tianyan looked at both of them. Both of them were wearing white clothes. And in the eyes of ordinary people, they looked like celestial fairies that didn't belong to the mortal world. Both of them have reached the 5th level of spirit refinement realm. And with this level of cultivation, their temperament is naturally not bad. Tianyan's attitude is good, he is very polite, and it is easy to make a good impression. When he looked up, he immediately checked their favorability towards him. 35 and 32 respectively. This level of favorability is only slightly better than the first time they met. Presumably this time there is a change. Even if he added 10 points of favorability, it will not increase by much. One could imagine that their favorability towards him was extremely low, and it was even possible for it to be in the negative. After going through some things, their favorability towards him would definitely increase. It is not necessary to do a task to improve favorability. The usual conversation, help will have an impact. Little junior brother, this time you won the quota for Jade Palace, and also got a lot of honor, plus you can forge. This time the two of us are probably just acting as guards. Ling and Qin Shui looked at each other, her beautiful eyes narrowed. It's my honor to have two beautiful senior sisters as my guards, Tianyan said with a smile. The two senior sisters covered their mouths and smiled, feeling very happy. They are very beautiful senior sister. It makes them tremble. They don't have much contact with men. For such an excellent man, they don't hate him so much. Especially now Tianyan is a big man. He is the only refiner in the entire Jade Palace. All the spirit tools are refined by him. Okay, it will be dark if we continue. Shi Shuiyan rolled her eyes at Tianyan. She didn't expect him to be such a smooth talker, praising both of them from ear to ear. Tianyan smiled awkwardly and walked out with her. Outside the gate of Jade Palace, a carriage has been prepared. The coachman is an ordinary person. He will take them to Wind City. Take this storage ring. There is some gold in it. And the spirit sword you forged before. Sell the extra spirit sword. Buy more materials, then come back to refine. Shi Shuiyan took it and handed him a ring. Tianyan took it. His eyes lit up. He played with it a little bit. When he put the storage ring on his finger, he can see the things inside the storage ring. The size of the space is about dozens of square meters. Not too big. There are a lot of gold and spirit swords inside. This thing is really good. It can store a lot of things. Too many things on his back. It is not very good. When we come back, we will definitely return with a full load. Tianyan smiled. Ding accepted quest. Purchase materials back to Jade Palace. Reward. 10,000 EXP. 1,000 gold. 1 lottery ticket. Increase overall favorability by 20 points. It is not surprising to accept this quest. After all, this is also a quest issued by Shi Shuiyan. But the reward is quite rich. Not to mention the golden 1,000 miles, 1 lottery ticket, and increase overall favorability by 20 points. This reward is quite high. After they sat in the carriage, Tianyan asked, Senior sister Ling, are we going to Wind City to purchase? Yes, we're going to Wind City. Ling nodded. Wind City. Tianyan squinted. He has never been to Wind City, but there is someone he knows, that is Master Kong. It was Master Kong who was driven back before. Master Kong seems to be in Tianfeng City, and has some relationship with other powerful families. If they go down this time, they don't know if they will encounter them. I hope I don't run into you again. Tianyan squinted his eyes. He still hasn't calmed down from the previous incident. If he wasn't afraid of causing trouble for Jade Palace, he would have already done it. After 2 days of travel, they finally arrived at Wind City, and it was safe along the way. Is this Tianfeng City? Tianyan looked up. The huge city gate looks quite imposing. People come and go. From a distance you can see the bustling streets inside the city gate. The guards at the gate are all strong cultivators of spirit refinement realm. Their expression is serious. No one dares to provoke them at will. When they were just about to enter the city, there was a shout from behind. All of you get out of the way, don't block the way. Tianyan looked out of the carriage, and saw a carriage rushing over, completely ignoring any passers-by, and rushing into the city. Along the way, many commoners didn't even have time to dodge, and were sent flying by the sturdy horses. Some were whipped by the coachman and sent flying. They were extremely arrogant. The guards at the gate just wanted to stop them, but when they saw the decoration on the carriage, they quickly dodged to the side and shouted, "All of you stand aside. Don't block the way if you don't want to die." The guards helped to shout at people to get out of the way, scared those who just wanted to enter the city gate, quickly dodged to the side. Although they are very unhappy, they can only watch the carriage rush over here, and rushed into the city gate in one fell swoop. The surrounding people were all guessing who exactly was sitting inside for him to be so overbearing. No wonder they are so arrogant. This is the carriage of Wing's sect. Even if the rank of the force is not low, isn't this a bit too arrogant? Qin Shui shook her head. No way, they have the capital to be arrogant. Wing's sect is better than Spirit sect. They are also one of the forces that entered the heavens, immersing ancient ruins this time, occupying 4 places. And Ling sighed. This kind of force they can't afford to provoke. Wing sect. Tianyan squinted. It turned out to be a sect of blacksmiths. Wing sect is a large number of blacksmiths, a place dedicated to training blacksmiths. The carriage just now was forged by them. If it is not a super strong person, it can't be destroyed at all. It can be said that the people inside are undoubtedly quite safe. Through this carriage, you can immediately see the level of Wing sect. Just this carriage, the grade is equivalent to a high-grade spirit tool, really rich and overbearing. Chapter 22. Ding! Do you want to accept the quest Defeat the Arrogant Wing Sect Disciple Ma Liangpeng? The quest reward is 5,000 experience points, 500 forging skill proficiency points, 500 gold. When the carriage of Wing's sect disappeared in front of him, suddenly a voice sounded in his mind. Take it! Tianyan subconsciously took it. After taking it, he suddenly froze. He did not expect this ability. This crazy leveling system. He has not thoroughly explored it. Now he can randomly accept the quest. In fact, it is equivalent to a random quest. Whether he wants to complete it or not, depends on himself. The overall reward is quite rich. There is no heaven-defying treasure. Generally, these rewards will not have any heaven-defying things to speak of. There was only one thing that would drop, and that was to kill monsters. If I use the lucky aura and kill monsters, will there be more surprise rewards? Tianyan immediately thought of a more perfect way. When he first played the game, what was the decisive factor for killing monsters? Of course it is the character, that is luck. Now with the lucky aura, will it not be able to burst out the reward? When he was thinking about it, Ling's voice sounded in his ear. We're here, let's go down. Tianyan came back to his senses, nodded and followed her down. In front of him is a towering elegant building, decorated extremely luxuriously. The exposed corners are plated with a layer of gold. The surrounding borders are plated with a layer of silver. Looks quite luxurious. This is the place they came to this time, Wind Pavilion. There are things they want to purchase here, and they can sell their things, so that they can exchange for more gold to purchase. What a luxurious place. Tianyan eyes lit up. Compared with the surrounding buildings, Wind Pavilion is more conspicuous. When they wanted to go in, there was a quarrel on the side. Everyone's attention was drawn over. What came into view was an ordinary girl with an ordinary appearance. There was nothing special about her, and she could be seen everywhere. She clung to a man's arm. Her clear eyes were full of anger. Luli, you said you would give me 8 taels of silver. The price of jade spirit grass can't be so low. I have inquired about it from others. This jade spirit grass is worth at least 10 taels. Now you only give me 3 taels. The girl's eyes were filled with anger. Her clothes were tattered, and it was obvious that she was not wealthy. Luli used all his strength to shake off the dirty little hand that was grabbing onto him. However, this girl's grip was too firm. If she continued to pull, his clothes would be torn. Wind Pavilion is now buying jade spirit grass. The price is 4 taels. I only want 1 tael as a reward, not much. If you continue to talk nonsense, don't blame me for taking action. If it wasn't for the fact that you usually ask me for help, I would have beaten you up long ago. Now my clothes are going to be torn by you. Damn it, it's so dirty, how unlucky. Lu Li's face was full of anger. He was not a cultivator, but just an ordinary person. That's impossible. This was yesterday's news. How could the price suddenly become so low? You must have pocketed it. The girl was still pulling his clothes tightly and said angrily, "Give it back." At this time, Yi Tianyin and others who were watching from the side looked at each other. They didn't know whether they should go up and help. "Don't look, let's go in." Qin Shui shook her head. She didn't intend to help. In her opinion, they were just ordinary people. They were too lazy to care too much. And Ling, on the other hand, wanted to take care of it. She knew that Lu Li pocketed it. In this way, the little girl was quite pitiful. Not only in Ling, even Yi Tianyin couldn't stand it anymore. He didn't say that he was a good person, but seeing this situation, it was clear that he was bullying the weak. Ding! Successfully accepted the quest, help kind girl Jiulingyun. Gained 1000 EXP. Jiulingyun's favorability increased by 100 points, 5 prestige points. Yi Tianyin didn't even listen to what the reward was. He went straight over there. For him, it doesn't matter how much the reward is. At this time, under the pull of Jiulingyun, his clothes were really torn. "My clothes are torn by you. Damn it, get out of here." In his rage, Lu Li raised his hand and sent a slap flying over. Facing this heavy slap, the young girl actually did not intend to dodge. She continued to hold on with her eyes wide open. She was not afraid at all. Pa! This slap didn't hit the girl's face. Instead, her hand was tightly grabbed by Yi Tianyin. "Friend, the price of the jade pill can indeed be sold for 10 silver taels. Aren't you bullying the weak?" Yi Tianyin frowned and said, "It's none of your business. Get out of here." Lu Li was angry. He shook his hand that was grabbed. He swung his fist toward Yi Tianyin's face. "Be careful." Jiulingyun unexpectedly blocked it. She wanted to help Lu Li block the fist. But before the fist came, a slap had already arrived. Pa! It wasn't Yi Tianyin or Jiulingyun who was hit. It was Lu Li who was hit. He was sent flying. Lu Li, who had been sent flying, tumbled a few times. His face was swollen, and a few of his teeth were knocked out. Trash! The person who attacked was none other than Yi Tianyin. "Bastard! Do you know who I am?" Lu Li crawled up. His face was swollen. He covered his bloody mouth and looked angrily at Yi Tianyin. "I don't know who you are, but I advise you to spit out the silver taels you stole. Otherwise, I don't mind giving you a few more slaps." Yi Tianyin took a step forward. His domineering aura was like a sharp blade that pierced through Lu Li. How could an ordinary person withstand the aura of a cultivator? Lu Li was frightened, and his legs immediately went soft. Cultivator! Cultivator! Lu Li came back to his senses. Jiulingyun's anger made him dizzy. When he came to his senses, he quickly took out the silver taels. It was exactly 10 taels. Just like what Jiulingyun said before, the jade spirit grass was sold at this price. After he took out the silver taels, he kowtowed in fear and said, "Sir, I'm sorry. Please let this lowly one go. This lowly one will never dare to cause trouble again." He kept kowtowing. He was frightened by Yi Tianyin's aura. He knew that he had hit a nail on the head. How could he dare to keep even a little bit of silver? He took it all out. Scram! Yi Tianyin looked at him coldly. He didn't kill him. There were too many people like this. He was afraid that he would dirty his hands. After Lu Li got permission, he quickly ran away. He didn't even dare to look back. Congratulations to player Yi Tianyin for completing the quest. You got 1000 EXP, 100 favorability points from Jiulingyun, 5 prestige points. 100 favorability points directly soar to the level of good friend. It seems that this help is really not small. When Jiulingyun saw Lu Li running away, she hurriedly trotted over, picked up the silver taels, and then put it in her arms, carefully keeping it. According to the situation here, These 10 silver taels are enough to feed a family of 3 for a month. She paused for a moment, then took out 5 taels of silver from her bosom and handed it over, saying, "Benefactor, this is your reward. I can't give you too much, or else my brothers at home won't have enough to eat." Looking at the 5 silver taels handed over by Jiu Lingyun, Tianyan shook his head and smiled. "I don't need this. I just don't know if you want to come with us? Join Jade Palace." "Heaven Jade Palace?" She widened her eyes and immediately shook her head. My talent is very low. There is no way for me to join Jade Palace. Many sects will recruit people, and at the same time, they will test their talent. Those with low talent naturally can't join. Jiu Lingyun's talent was probably not very high, which was why she chose to reject the offer. "Senior sisters, can she join Jade Palace? Not to become an official disciple. Can she do some chores to take care of Jade Palace?" Tianyan asked. 2 fairy-like senior sisters came over, and Jiu Lingyun was stunned. "This is not a problem. And junior brother, you are a famous person in Jade Palace. There is no problem at all." And Ling looked at Tianyan with twinkling eyes. Her beautiful eyes have a little more favorable impression. Obviously, this action made her a lot of favorable impression, although Qin Shui next to her didn't help. But when she saw Jiu Lingyun, she couldn't help but soften. "In that case, are you willing to come with us?" Tianyan smiled. He didn't mean anything else, he just wanted to help. He felt that this girl's eyes are very clear. Plus, when Luli counterattacked, she didn't even think about it. Let go of his hand to help him block the attack. Chapter 23. Is it really possible? Jiu Lingyun looked up. Her clear eyes were full of desire, but immediately shook her head and said, "Then I'll think about it. She didn't immediately agree. She didn't even know Tianyan's name. How could she immediately agree? This surprised Ling and the others. If it was someone else, they would have already agreed. Why would they need to think about it? Tianyan didn't know what she was thinking. He asked softly, "Is it because of your brother?" How do you know?" Jiu Lingyun's eyes widened. She couldn't believe it. "You said it yourself before. Leave some money, isn't it for your brother?" Tianyan immediately judged the reason from her tattered clothes. He knew that her family is definitely not very good. She didn't want to leave. It must be to take care of her brother. This is... I can't leave my brother, so I'm sorry for the time being." Jiu Lingyun clenched the corner of her clothes. She wanted to go, but she couldn't leave her brother. "Ding! Do you accept the quest, help Jiu Lingyun's brother? The reward is 1000 EXP. Jiu Lingyun's favorability increased by 50, prestige increased by 5 points. At this time, a quest popped up. It's really one after another. The reward is somewhat ordinary. Tianyan can imagine why the reward is so low, because it's a more ordinary quest, and it belongs to the side quest type. Naturally, it will be a little lower. There's prestige. At this time, he checked his subordinates and suddenly froze. In his property bar, there really is prestige. Before he focused on Luli, he didn't pay attention to this thing. Now he found that there is prestige. Player, Tianyan level, 12, second level of spirit refinement, EXP, crazy point, 670 prestige. 5 cultivation technique, Dark North divine art martial arts, absorbing stars great technique eagle claw art, falling feather sword technique, floating cloud steps weapon, frost fist armor, snow wolf battle boots, divine armor divine ability, crazy mode luck or proficiency, divine rune, forging array, alchemy. Under his investigation, the effect of character value was displayed. Prestige increases luck. The higher one's prestige, the luckier they will be. Can be used anywhere. Looks like doing good deeds can increase my prestige. I wonder how much these few prestige points can increase the effect. Tianyan thought for a moment. If he were to use the lucky halo in this situation, the effect would undoubtedly be greatly enhanced. Take it. Tianyan immediately accepted the quest, and immediately smiled at Jiu Lingyun. Then take your brother back. We can recruit more people in Jade Palace. And Ling and the others were taken aback, but they didn't say anything. It's okay to accept one more person, anyway. It's just one more person to do odd jobs. Really? Jiu Lingyun was pleasantly surprised. Yes, But let's go buy something first, Tianyan said to her. Then I will wait for you outside. Jiulingyun said. I can't go in. People from the slums can't go in. Wind Pavilion doesn't welcome people from the slums. The residents of the slums have no money, so there's no point in coming in. Even if they want to sell spirit herbs, they don't want to let them in. The main reason is that it looks so dirty, and the spirit herbs they brought in are just ordinary spirit herbs. It's really worthless to exchange them for a dozen silver. So if you want to go in, you must change into a set of good clothes and dress up a little. It's impossible for them to do this. The price they have to pay is not small. They can only ask someone to help them, and then give them some silver as a reward. With me here, you are the most distinguished guest. No one dares to touch you, Tianyan said solemnly. Jiulingyun looked at his eyes, and finally nodded gently. She hasn't entered Wind Pavilion before, so she still wants to go in. Tianyan walked into Wind Pavilion with Jiulingyun. Just as they walked in, the guard next to them stopped them, and looked at them coldly. Sorry, we don't welcome people from the slums here. The guard's aura is very strong. His cultivation level is around the 5th level of the body refinement realm. As a guard here, it proves that this place is not simple. She is my person. Is there a problem with me bringing her in? Tianyan's eyes are cold, and with a strong aura, the two guards' pupils shrank. The aura coming from Tianyan made them take a step back. Their backs are a little cold. This aura is much stronger than them. No problem, please come in. The guard's forehead is full of cold sweat, indicating that Tianyan can go in. With such a strong cultivator brought in, they naturally don't dare to stop them. They don't let people from the slums in, because they think that people from the slums can't afford to spend a lot of money. It's not absolutely forbidden for people from the slums to come in. Now that a cultivator is brought in, they will not stop them. Anyway, there will be no problem if there is a financial backer to bring her in. Besides, Jiulingyun doesn't have much money. Her clothes are a little shabby, but the clothes are very clean, just a little faded. There is no dirt, and even a faint fragrance. This is the fragrance of wild flowers outside. Obviously, when taking a bath, she added some wild flowers. I really came in. Jiulingyun is very nervous. This is the first time she came here. She must be nervous. The most important thing is that she is worried that she will break something. With her current wealth, she can't afford to pay for it. What do you want to buy? Tianyan asked. I don't want anything. I just want to come in and take a look. She shook her head. The prices of the things around here are not cheap. At least 100 taels. She has seen at most a few dozen taels of silver. How can she see a few hundred taels of silver? Seeing the price, she doesn't dare to say anything. Tianyan didn't say anything. He took her in a circle, but he didn't see any good materials. Then he went up to the 2nd floor, and after walking around, he found that Jiulingyun's eyes are fixed on a bottle of pills. But when she saw the price, the hope in her eyes suddenly dimmed. This detail is easily caught by him. He took a look. This pill is called Poison Dispelling Pill. As the name suggests, it is used to detoxify. But the price is not cheap, as high as 1,000 taels of silver. No wonder she didn't dare to ask. This price is enough to last for decades. Do you want this? Tianyan pointed at the pill. She wanted to say something but stopped. Immediately seems to have made a decision, nodded and said, I want this pill. I want to borrow some money to buy it. What do you want this pill for? Tianyan asked. My brother is poisoned. He can't move his feet. I heard that this pill can cure him. I want to buy it for him. Her clear eyes flashed with hope. She put all her heart on her brother. That's good. Take me to see your brother. I will treat your brother. If you only need this pill, I can cure your brother. Tianyan smiled. Really? Jiulingyun is very excited. And Ling and Qin Shui next to her looked at each other. They are very puzzled. Tianyan can also go to cure his injury? No problem. When we are done here, we will start to prepare. Tianyan nodded. When he was ready to take them to buy materials, a familiar voice sounded in his ear. How can people from the slums come in? Has Sky's spirit building declined to this point? Really bad luck. When Tianyan turned his head, he saw the acquaintance, Master Kong. Chapter 24. Master Kong came over. When he saw Jiu Lingyun, he didn't hide his disgust. Even if Jiu Lingyun didn't have any stench, but her ordinary clothes made him feel like he had eaten a fly. When he saw Yi Tianyan, he was a little surprised and his eyes showed anger. I didn't expect it to be you. How can you be here? When he saw Yi Tianyan, he couldn't help but cover his buttocks. He still felt a dull pain. Being kicked by Yi Tianyan, even if his injury was healed, the humiliation did not go away. What's the problem with me coming here? Yi Tianyan's eyes were cold. This Master Kong is really arrogant. Just because he has some forging ability, he thinks he can do whatever he wants? Of course. Come on, let them all get out of here. They are not welcome here. Master Kong shouted to the guard next to him. And how can people from the slums come in? It's really bad luck. It's lowering the level of this place. I'm sorry, Master Kong, I'll let them go. The guard immediately changed his expression and said to Yi Tianyan coldly, we have a rule here. People from the slums can't come here, please leave. Master Kong is a guest here, of course. He will listen to him and will not choose to please Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan was angry. Why do you think she came from the slums? Can't she wear something ordinary? Those who don't have the ability to spend money here are from the slums, please leave. The guard said coldly. Next to him, Jiu Lingyun bit her lips. She was worried that she would be driven out by others, and she will make Yi Tianyan lose face. I'll go out. When Jiu Lingyun was about to speak, a few pieces of gold fell into her hands. The price was equivalent to tens of thousands. What about this? Yi Tianyan said while suppressing the anger in his heart. This. When the guard saw Yi Tianyan's actions, he was speechless and turned to look at Master Kong next to him. We don't welcome you here. In any case, you are from the slums. It doesn't make sense to be humble. Master Kong said sarcastically. A tremor ran through Jiu Lingyun, and her eyes went red. She really wanted to retort, but this person had a high status, and she didn't dare to do so. Is that so? It's better than some people. Even if they wear luxurious clothes, they are still worse than animals. Yi Tianyan smiled faintly and patted her shoulder, indicating that she should not be so worried. Who are you calling a beast? Master Kong looked angry, pointing at Yi Tianyan. If you think I'm insulting you, then so be it. I don't care about that. Yi Tianyan turned to look at the guard and said in a deep voice. Who is he to you? Is it because he is a guest that you treat him like this? Yes. I am a guest here. I have the right to let you leave. Master Kong said coldly. Kick them out. He motioned the guards on both sides to rush forward, although he wanted to beat up Yi Tianyan. But if Shi Shuyan knew about it, he will be in trouble. His status is not low, but it doesn't mean that he can compete with Jade Palace. He is just a guest. Where is the manager here? I have something to say to him. Yi Tianyan said indifferently. You want to see the pavilion master? Master Kong sneered, very disdainful of him. What's wrong? At this time, an old man came from the side. Such a big movement. It's impossible not to attract people. Pavilion Master Liang, you came at the right time. He not only hurt me before, but also brought people from the slums. I feel that he brought some bad luck to Wind Pavilion and affect other guests. Master Kong said coldly. Please kick them out. Huh. Pavilion Master Liang looked at Yi Tianyan frowned, just wanted to say something, but when he saw En Ling and Qin Shui, he was a bit surprised. Pavilion Master Liang, don't you think your guest is a bit too rude? We are from Jade Palace, what's wrong with bringing people in? Are we not guests? Qin Shui couldn't help but stand up and said, Master Kong's words are really ugly, and they don't mind, but Master Kong does. It turns out that you are from Jade Palace. No wonder you two have such extraordinary temperament. Pavilion Master Liang smiled, and immediately said to Master Kong, those who come are guests, and they are from Jade Palace. Why are you angry? Harmony makes money, harmony makes money. Pavilion Master Liang doesn't want to offend either side. On one side is Master Kong, their guest. On the other side is Jade Palace. Although this force is not big, but it is still a good force, and also not easy to provoke. Wind Pavilion itself is not bad, but it is neutral, so they don't want to cause trouble and have friction with any sect. Pavilion Master Liang, I will say this. If you let them continue to stay here, then I will leave. Master Kong is angry. Put down the words. Let Pavilion Master Liang make his own choice. Pavilion Lord Liang's face changed, but he didn't think about it for too long, and immediately said to Yi Tianyan and Yi Tianyan, "This is too embarrassing. Please leave this place." Yi Tianyan said his words were already relatively polite, but his words made Qin Shui and Enling so angry that they wanted to draw their swords. They didn't expect that the name of Jade Palace is not as good as this Master Kong. In fact, the name of Jade Palace is certainly more famous than Master Kong, but Master Kong is a guest. He can help them forge spirit tools, which means the meaning is different. You guys are bullying us. It doesn't matter this place, we don't have to come here. Pavilion Master Liang. Remember your choice today. Some people staying here is not necessarily good for you. Yi Tianyan reached out to stop Qin Shui, motioned them not to be impulsive, and then immediately left with his people. Humph, you want to fight with me? Wind Pavilion is my territory. Master Kong is happy, seeing Yi Tianyan and Qin Shui's face. He is particularly comfortable. Pavilion Master Liang frowned, and immediately shook his head, and did not say anything. After they left, Jiu Lingyun burst into tears and said apologetically, "I am sorry. It's all because of me that this happened. This is not your fault. In fact, this Master Kong has a grudge against us. It has nothing to do with you." Yi Tianyan looked up. There is also a building in front of him, but compared to Wind Pavilion, this one is obviously not as luxurious, but it is also a business called Rain Pavilion. The two have always been in a competitive relationship, but now it is obvious that Wind Pavilion is slightly better. They can't enter Wind Pavilion, so they can only buy in this Rain Pavilion. Let's go to this one. I will make them regret their choice. Qin Shui and Enling looked at each other. They don't know what Yi Tianyan will think, but they can only go with this little junior brother. When they came to this Rain Pavilion, the waiter just opened his mouth. He threw out 10 middle-grade spirit swords and said, "I came to sell these, and at the same time, I intend to use your Rain Pavilion to advertise." Chapter 25. Ding, successfully accepted the quest. Help Rain Pavilion suppress Wind Pavilion. Reward. 5,000 EXP, 100 favorability points from Ziyue, 500 gold, 10 prestige points. After coming in, Yi Tianyan accepted the quest. He didn't expect it to increase his prestige. As for who Ziyue is, needless to say, she must have a very close relationship with Rain Pavilion. It seems that the quest is everywhere. There are too many random quests, I can't stop. His eyes flashed. Not only can he abuse people, but he can also get rewards, why not? He feels that his cultivation can improve by several levels if he goes around here. At that time, he will be able to crush everyone in heaven's immersing ancient ruins. The waiter was shocked by the number of spirit swords. The price of a spirit weapon is not cheap, especially a middle-grade spirit weapon. It can definitely be sold for a good price. Guests, please wait for a moment. I will go and call Pavilion Master Z over. The attendant hastily ran up to look for Pavilion Master Z. After a short moment, a purple-clothed young lady quickly walked down from the second floor. She was Pavilion Master Z, Ziyue. Ziyue came over. She is beautiful. In her early 20s, she is already the Pavilion Master of Rain Pavilion. It is really hard to tell. She saw the 10 middle-grade spirit swords inserted on the ground. Her eyes suddenly lit up. Very good. 10 middle-grade spirit swords. Are you going to sell them to us? You can say that, but I am more happy to see you lower the price a little bit, to compete with Wind Pavilion. I can provide the spirit weapon. I can forge it. As for the price, of course, lower than Wind Pavilion is good. When the time comes, the price will also be decided by you, but I can ask for a little less. As long as you provide the materials, I will forge, and you are responsible for suppressing the price. How about it? It seems that this is not a good deal, but for Yi Tianyan, this is the best deal. With their competitive relationship, he can continue to use these materials to forge weapons. Not only can he gain experience, but he can also complete the quest. Why not? It seems that Gongzi has a grudge against Wind Pavilion? Ziyue smiled. Almost, how about it? Are you willing to accept this business? Tianyan looked at her and smiled. Of course, we are happy to. Ziyue's almond-shaped eyes narrowed slightly. Although she was young, she already had a plan in mind. And Ling and Qin Shui looked at each other. What's going on? Why did they suddenly make trouble? Two senior sisters, please help me. Please follow ninth young lady to bring her brother here to detoxify the poison. I can't leave right now. Of course, Tianyan didn't forget about this matter. Originally, she wanted to find her brother immediately after buying the things. But now it seemed impossible. She could only ask them to help. No problem. Let's go now. The two senior sisters nodded and brought Jiu Lingyun with them. Since Jiu Lingyun's younger brother was poisoned, they couldn't neglect this matter. While they were preparing, Wind Pavilion was safe and sound. Except for the previous episode, there was no big problem. Humph, fight with me. I'll make sure your Jade Palace won't be able to buy anything here. Master Kong coldly snorted, feeling very angry. Thinking of being kicked and humiliated before. He certainly can't swallow this anger. His eyes are a bit more murderous. Thinking about how to get rid of this Tianyan. For his own revenge. Master Kong, it seems that Jade Palace provoked you. This is their fault. According to the situation of Jade Palace, in the absence of their own blacksmith, the demand for weapons is relatively difficult. Most of them come here to find a blacksmith. It seems that they provoked you. It's really not a very rational behavior. Pavilion Lord Liang flattered Master Kong. Master Kong is young. In the future, there is no problem for him to become a 4th or 5th level blacksmith. So Pavilion Lord Liang is willing to offend Jade Palace. Just as they were chatting happily, a guard rushed in from the outside. He even bumped into a teacup on the table at the side, causing it to fall and shatter with a pung sound. What's the situation? Don't you know it's impolite? Pavilion Lord Liang frowned. Pavilion Lord Liang. This Rain Pavilion began to sell middle-grade spirit tool at 10,000 silver lower than ours. The guard hurriedly said. What? Pavilion Lord Liang and Master Kong both stood up in shock, feeling that all this is so incredible. Are they crazy? Lower than 10,000 silver? This is almost equal to less than half a low-grade spirit tool. They want to lose money. Pavilion Lord Liang was shocked. It seems to be the idea of an employer. Let Rain Pavilion help sell. Suddenly pull our source of customers. The guard said. An employer's idea? Which employer is so generous, willing to sell at such a low price? Pavilion Lord Liang calmly said. It seems to be the one who was driven out by you before. The guard said. What? Pavilion Lord Liang was dumbfounded again, and said solemnly. How can it be him? Isn't he from Jade Palace? How can he sell spirit tools? Jade Palace doesn't have many spirit tools. How can he sell at such a low price? What is this? If he is forced by us. This is definitely forced by us. That's why he did this. Let's see how many spirit tools he can sell. When he sells them out, won't the rest of the customers come to him? Master Kong stuttered, because he knows that Tianyan can refine tools. If he does this, they really can't do anything. He only hopes that Tianyan can't continue, and finally retreat. This is possible. If he is forced by us, he wants to use the power of Rain Pavilion to suppress us. Pavilion Lord Liang sneered. That's too naive. We will send people to buy their low-price spirit tools. We will make a profit. Immediately they ordered people to buy those spirit tools, but soon they were sold out. But not long after, another batch of spirit tools was released, still lower than this price. Pavilion Lord Liang immediately sent people to buy them, but not long after, another batch of spirit tools came out, and a dozen spirit tools came out, as if out of thin air. How can there be more? Did Rain Pavilion sell their own spirit tools at a low price? Pavilion Lord Liang frowned, feeling that something is wrong. If they do this, isn't it the behavior of a fool? Chapter 26. At first, Wind Pavilion thought that Rain Pavilion was just a temporary way to attract customers. But later they found that more and more spirit tools were sold, and more customers were attracted. Originally, they wanted to buy spirit tools from them, but now they are running to Rain Pavilion like crazy. Although the price is not much, but at least it is cheap. Obviously there is a cheap spirit tool. But to buy expensive spirit tools, isn't this the behavior of a fool? Rain Pavilion has become very lively. Ziyue has been smiling from ear to ear. This result is far beyond her expectations. Yi Tianyan is like a god that descended from the sky, helping them to attract a lot of customers and improve their performance. Pavilion Master Z, this time the headquarters will definitely recognize your position. The elder next to her also smiled from ear to ear. Ziyue smiled and nodded. Looking at the distance where Yi Tianyan is constantly refining spirit tools, she sighed. This is all thanks to Yi Gongzi. He came to help me in this most difficult time. Although he is using our strength to suppress Wind Pavilion. But this is exactly what we need. Now we only need to continue to prepare materials for Yi Gongzi. All of a sudden some of the unnecessary materials are cleared, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The most important thing is that Yi Gongzi has never failed. This level is too amazing. Ordinary blacksmiths will more or less have a chance of failure. The elder next to her echoed. At this time, Yi Tianyan's materials are almost finished, when he finished refining the last spirit tool. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyan. Beginner Forging Mastery, upgraded to Intermediate Forging Mastery. At this time, he was excited. It means that he can now forge high-grade spirit tools, or even the best spirit tools. Beginner Forging Mastery is equivalent to the level of 3rd-grade blacksmith in this world. Intermediate Forging Mastery is not equal to 5th grade or master level. It can only be equivalent to the level of 4th grade blacksmith, with a higher success rate of forging mid-grade and high-grade spirit tools, among which there is a chance to forge the best spirit tool. With similar materials, or a little more materials, you can forge a higher grade spirit tool, which means the price is higher. It was just that the difficulty had increased. As expected of a high-tier spiritual artifact, the failure rate has dropped to 50%, and the success rate of a supreme-tier spiritual artifact is only 10%. Yi Tianyan shook his head. However, it was still better than his previous standard. The success rate of forging a top-tier spiritual artifact was 0. At this time, Ling and Qin Shui accompanied Jiu Lingyun and her brother. Her brother was about 7 or 8 years old. He seemed to be still in a coma, and did not wake up. Young Master Yi, he is my brother, please save him. Jiu Lingyun's eyes were red as she knelt down, and begged Yi Tianyan to save her brother. Yi Tianyan supported her and said in a low voice, "Let me see his condition." He came to the side of the stretcher, and examined her brother. He found that he was indeed poisoned. It is estimated that he was bitten by a poisonous snake. Now the poison has flowed into his meridians, and completely mixed with the blood. It is extremely serious. Sister, you are back. At this time, her brother slowly woke up. He tried to open his eyes, and looked at her with a smile on his face. I seem to have dreamed that I went to the river to play with sister. We went to the mountains to pick wild fruits. Those wild fruits are so sweet, so sweet. Yes, you will get better soon. When the time comes, we will go to pick wild fruits together. Her nose was sour, and tears welled up in her eyes. Ling and the others' eyes were also red. They were touched by this scene. The deep love between siblings was like this. Don't worry, the detoxification pill can indeed save your brother. But there is a way to get rid of the poison faster and easier. Immediately, Yi Tianyan's hand emerged the immortal fire. Under the eyes of everyone, he pushed it into her brother's body. Jiu Lingyun's eyes widened. She opened her mouth wanting to say something, but no words came out. Wasn't this flame used to refine tools? How could it be pushed into her brother's body? But she did not stop it, because in her heart, she chose to believe in Yi Tianyan. When this flame was pushed into her brother's body, the poison in his body began to be quickly cleaned up. The black spots on his body began to fade. This detoxification speed is quite amazing. The poison is beginning to disappear. It's gone. After they saw this, they exclaimed. In just a moment, under this immortal fire, the poison in her brother's body was completely cleaned up. The detoxification speed is really amazing. It is even faster than taking those pills. Sister, I feel much better. Her brother's spirit suddenly became better. Although he can't get up and walk, at least he will not continue to be unconscious. He can wake up and communicate. That's good, that's good. When Jiu Lingyun saw that her brother's spirit was a lot better, she happily covered her mouth, and tears kept falling. Yi Tianyan also helped to adjust his body, making his condition slightly better. Only then did he put away the flame in his hand. He shook his head and said, "Fortunately, the poison is relatively light. Otherwise, he would have died." Fortunately, Jiu Lingyun met him. Otherwise, her brother would have died without a doubt. Without money to buy detoxification pills, how could he get rid of the poison? Ziyue, who was watching from the side, her beautiful eyes flashed with surprise. She did not expect that Yi Tianyan would have this kind of ability. Generally, this was an ability that only alchemists could use. How could he do it? There is only one possibility: he can also refine pills. Thank you, young Master Yi. In this life, I am willing to be young Master Yi's slave for the rest of my life. I will serve young Master Yi. Jiu Lingyun knelt down again, but Yi Tianyan helped her up. You don't have to thank me. It was just a small effort. Yi Tianyan smiled indifferently. At this time, a ding sound rang in his mind. The reward was issued, increasing his experience and character. Pavilion Master Z, please give them a guest room so that they can rest. Yi Tianyan said, That's no problem. I will arrange it for them. Ziyue hurriedly gestured for them to help arrange it. Yi Tianyan is now their savior. Of course, this kind of thing is allowed. While they were making arrangements, Yi Tianyan went back to refine the spirit weapon again. When he was ready to try refining the high-grade spirit weapon, he suddenly discovered an extremely important thing. The success rate has increased. Originally, the high-grade spirit weapon's success rate was 50%. Suddenly it became 55%, a slight increase of half. Chapter 27. When Rain Pavilion was selling their spirit tools, Wind Pavilion finally made a move. Reporting to Pavilion Master Z, they are selling their spirit tools at a price lower than ours by 10,000. The price war began. They thought that Wind Pavilion would just sit back and watch, but now they joined in the price war. They wanted to pull their customers back. However, they usually have a price war. It's just that Rain Pavilion's qualification is relatively weak. They can't compete with Wind Pavilion. But now it's different. They continue to pull their customers back. Some of them will buy other things in addition to weapons, which suddenly made Rain Pavilion's performance rise crazily. This made Wind Pavilion unable to sit still. They also joined in the price war. Are they finally unable to sit still? Yi Tianyan smiled and said, But the number of spirit tools is almost saturated, right? He has already refined dozens of spirit tools. The number is not much, but in Wind City, the demand is still relatively common, so it is temporarily in a state of saturation. This point can be seen from the number of customers who bought spirit tools in Wind Pavilion in the past. But the number is still not as crazy as before. Almost because of the price reduction, almost all of them have been bought. Ziyue nodded. Thinking that this is almost enough, they can only suppress the price to this point. What if the price of high-grade spirit tools is reduced? Yi Tianyan said lightly. If the price of high-grade spirit tools is reduced, it will certainly attract a large number of family disciples to buy it. But if it is only a little bit cheaper, it will be meaningless. Ziyue analyzed. The price of high-grade spirit tools is not cheap. It is basically about 200,000 silver, and this is the normal price. If it is a little bit higher, the price will definitely not be low. It is estimated that it will run up to 300 or 400,000. It is equivalent to the price of almost 3 mid-grade spirit tools. It is enough to see how scary it is. If it is only 10 or 20,000 silver cheaper, it is really meaningless, because if they can afford to buy a high-grade spirit tool, they will not be short of money. Then what if we reduce it by 50,000 silver? Yi Tianyan said indifferently. Ziyue widened her beautiful eyes and said, This is not impossible. The price of the materials is about the same, just a little more materials, and the costs won't be too different. It's just that the success rate of high-grade spirit weapons is frighteningly low. If we fail frequently, it won't be worth it. Instead, we'll be losing money. A spirit weapon only lacked a small amount of materials, but the difference in difficulty was like the difference between heaven and earth. No problem. We just need to suppress Wind Pavilion in terms of momentum. Pull all of their customers over, but whether or not you can keep them will depend on yourselves. Etienne's eyes flashed. This, young Master E, you can also refine high-grade spirit weapons? Ziyue was dumbfounded again. After Enling and Qin Shui heard it, they were also dumbfounded. Yes, is there a problem? Etienne smiled. Although the success rate was not 100%, with the help of the Lucky Halo, there was no need to worry about the success rate. Even without the Lucky Halo, there was still a 50% success rate. Junior brother, do you really know how to refine high-grade spirit weapons? Enling couldn't believe it. Etienne is too young. Those who can refine high-grade spirit weapons are not young. Those who are in their 30s are considered young. He now looks like he is less than 20 years old. It's incredible that he can refine high-grade spirit weapons. Won't you know in a while? Etienne looked at the stunned Ziyue and said with a smile. It's just that the materials are provided by Pavilion Lord Z. As for the share, we also only need to take 30%. The materials are provided by them, so the share of the sales is certainly only 30%. But the meaning is different. In terms of the high price, the Rain Pavilion will undoubtedly earn more. As long as young Master E can maintain a certain success rate, we can provide 40%, or more than 50%. Ziyue felt as if her heart was about to fly out of her chest. The significance of this was different. The more spirit tools they had, the more it would reflect their foundation. Moreover, they would be able to attract more customers. To put it bluntly, in the entire Tianfeng city, the number of blacksmiths who can forge high-grade spirit weapons can be counted with one hand. Moreover, they are very high up. Especially in terms of success rate, it is relatively low. In fact, you only need to provide the materials. It's that simple for me. Etienne's approach seems to be a loss. In the eyes of others, it seems like a fool's behavior. In fact, only he knows the benefits. He broke through to the 3rd level of spirit refinement realm. With such a terrifying breakthrough speed, if he continues to break through to the 4th or 5th level, there is no pressure at all. The premise is that there are more materials for him to forge. He is now asking the Rain Pavilion to provide him with materials at a low price. His own strength is the most important thing. Money is just a worldly possession. The materials are definitely not a problem, but as long as young Master E can really provide high-grade spirit weapon, I will give you a bonus. Ziyue is not a fool. She knows how much she can keep Etienne. Etienne smiled and did not say anything. He began to forge high-grade spirit weapon. The success rate is only 55%, but under the blessing of Lucky Aura, it directly soars to 100%. Because of Lucky Aura, it is equivalent to magnifying his character value by 10 times. Looking at the 100 points on his reputation point, he was grinning from ear to ear. It's just that the consumption is too amazing. Fortunately, he can use it at the critical moment to make up for the success rate. This forging success rate is the most difficult step. He only needs to use it at that stage. Although it is only once, but to forge a high-grade spirit weapon, it will consume 10 crazy point. Success! Buzz! For the first time, he successfully forged high-grade spirit weapon. A sharper high-grade spirit sword was forged. Ding! Congratulations on forging high-grade spirit weapon. Reward 5,000 EXP, 100 proficiency. Not only the experience gained, but also the proficiency is a lot. However, intermediate blacksmith, to upgrade to advanced blacksmith, the required proficiency is a terrible 10,000 points. Assuming that he can succeed every time, he needs to forge 100 of them. But failure also gives proficiency, but the increase is too little. It really succeeded. Chapter 28. This time we also suppress the price. Customers finally come back to our side to buy, unless they continue to reduce the price. Pavilion Lord Liang said coldly. This time Rain Pavilion did this. It is really unexpected, but a large part of the reason for this situation is Master Kong's credit. He also looked at Master Kong coldly. All this is really Master Kong's credit. If he didn't do this before, how could Rain Pavilion have this opportunity? Now they not only didn't make a profit, but also lost a lot of money. Master Kong is embarrassed next to him. How could he think that Tianyan, this trash, can really refine middle-grade spirit tool? But he doesn't believe that Tianyan can make so many spirit tools. Pavilion Lord Liang. I suspect that they are here to test our situation. That is, they are spies sent by Rain Pavilion. Master Kong began to talk nonsense, constantly putting the blame on Tianyan. Pavilion Lord Liang's face sank. Master Kong still dares to talk nonsense. It is clear that Tianyan came from Jade Palace. How can they be spies from Rain Pavilion? Even if they are spies from Heavenly Rain Pavilion, they will not involve people from Jade Palace. They are businessmen. It is impossible to form a faction. This is easy to cause conflicts. At this time, a guard hurriedly ran in from outside, gasping for breath. Apparently, he rushed up from downstairs and shouted, "Not good, not good. Rain Pavilion has begun to auction high-grade spirit tools. The price is lower than our side by 50,000 silver." What? They were suddenly shocked. Upper-grade spirit tool is not worried about selling. There is no need to lower the price. There are only a few possibilities. The first is too many goods. The second is to target them, deliberately lower the price. If they don't lower the price, then their reputation will be in danger. Because Rain Pavilion's reputation is up, then more people go to Rain Pavilion. Less people go to Wind Pavilion. It has always been Wind Pavilion suppressing Heavenly Rain Pavilion. According to this situation, they will be suppressed by Heavenly Rain Pavilion. Where can they put their face? Although it is possible that this time it is sold out, it is possible that they will not sell it in the future. But people want face, trees want bark. A loss was a loss, a humiliation to them. This was like a martial arts competition. If you were defeated by a single punch, you might be able to win it back in the future, but you had already lost at that time. It was already a type of humiliation, a huge stain on your reputation. Moreover, if this continued, they wouldn't even have a chance to turn the tables. This time they continue to lower the price, and it's still a high-grade spirit tool. Is the Pavilion Lord of Rain Pavilion crazy? Pavilion Master Liang's complexion was extremely ugly. This situation had far exceeded the previous situation. If there were only 1 or 2 high-grade spirit weapons, it would still be manageable as they still had some in stock. However, if there were 6 or 7 high-grade spirit weapons, or even more than 10 high-grade spirit weapons, that would be terrifying. Who forged this upper-grade spiritual weapon? Pavilion Master Liang thought for a moment and asked hurriedly. According to the spy over there, it is Tianyan, outer disciple of Jade Palace. The guard reported. It's really him. Pavilion Lord Liang's face completely darkened, and he immediately grabbed the teacup beside him and angrily flung it on the ground. With a clang, the teacup was smashed into pieces. Next to him, Master Kong's complexion was ugly. This time, things are even more beyond his expectation. He can forge an upper-grade spiritual weapon. How old is he? Master Kong's complexion was ugly, and he almost fainted. What kind of monster did he provoke? It will take a long time for him to become a 4th-grade blacksmith, and he doesn't know how long it will take. Even if he becomes a 4th-grade blacksmith, the success rate of forging an upper-grade spiritual weapon is still frighteningly low. The key is that it is extremely difficult for him to forge a middle-grade spiritual weapon, and the success rate is only less than 30%. Compared with Tianyan, he is simply a pile of shit. However, Pavilion Lord Liang didn't get angry with Master Kong and waited for the next report. This report did not have to wait for too long. Very soon, the scout came back in a hurry and said with a horrified expression, They have forged 3 for high-grade spirit weapons, and they are still forging. I heard that they will forge more than 10 high-grade spirit weapons. Their Wind Pavilion can forge a few upper-grade spiritual weapons from time to time, and it is already something to show off. Those who can forge upper-grade spiritual weapons are specially provided to those relatively top 2nd-grade forces, or even 3rd-grade forces. According to this situation, the reputation of Rain Pavilion will completely overshadow their Wind Pavilion. At that time, there will be a lot of people coming to their Rain Pavilion to forge weapons, and their network will skyrocket, crushing their Wind Pavilion. As a treasure pavilion, they pay attention to the quality of the treasures. Once the quality is not as good as others, it proves that their strength is not good enough. Whether it is a family or a cultivator, there is no need to think much about the choice. It is no wonder that Ziyue is excited. She can see her rain pavilion will be popular for a long time in the future. Kong Shengfeng, you are really good, provoking such a person for our wind pavilion. Pavilion Lord Liang directly said Master Kong's real name. He was furious, especially when he remembered what Yi Tianyan said before he left. Some people should be befriended. Some people should not be befriended. Do you understand this truth? Pavilion Lord Liang Kong Shengfeng wanted to say something, but Pavilion Lord Liang waved his hand and interrupted him. Don't say any more. We can't afford to invite you as a guest. Please go back. Pavilion Lord Liang immediately made a judgment. He knows that Yi Tianyan is specifically targeting Kong Shengfeng. If he doesn't do this, he will really stay in Heavenly Rain Pavilion. Then Wind Pavilion won't be able to make a comeback. Kong Shengfeng's face is also extremely ugly. In the face of the angry Pavilion Lord Liang, his eyes revealed a bit of killing intent. But he did not want to kill Pavilion Lord Liang, but Yi Tianyan. Then I will take my leave. Kong Shengfeng turned and walked away, gritting his teeth, his face gloomy. At the corner, he revealed his killing intent. Very good, I didn't want to be so ruthless, but now don't blame me for being impolite. After Kong Shengfeng left, Pavilion Lord Liang did not send anyone to apologize, because at this point, if their Wind Pavilion does not regain some face, they will not be able to stand in Wind City. Chapter 29. With the help of Yi Tianyan, Rain Pavilion's reputation suddenly soared. Many guests came to buy this high-grade spirit tool. It was quite popular. Yi Tianyan doesn't seem to be tired. He is constantly refining upper-level spirit tool. When the spiritual power in the body is insufficient, he will give himself a recovery pill. It will be 100 times more energetic. Yi Tianyan's body swayed, almost fell to the ground. He felt tired. Young Master Yi, are you okay? Ziyue has been accompanying him. In addition to being busy with some guests, the rest of the time is watching Yi Tianyan refine spirit tools. A little bit absent-minded. It seems that I have been refining for too long. Yi Tianyan shook his head. After refining 6 high-grade spiritual weapons, he finally felt like he couldn't hold on any longer. His spirit felt weak. He had refined too many in the past few days. Even if he can replenish his spiritual power, but to replenish his spiritual power, he still needs a good rest. Young Master Yi, it seems that you have to take a good rest. I will let those guests come next time. You have to rest well. These days, you have been refining tools. You haven't had a good rest. Ziyue persuaded. Yi Tianyan nodded and wondered. Wind Pavilion, there is no movement now. There is no movement for the time being. They don't have as many high-grade spirit tools as we do. It is impossible for them to choose to sell at a lower price. When Ziyue talked about Wind Pavilion, she immediately became excited. For so many years, our Heavenly Rain Pavilion has been suppressed by Wind Pavilion. This time, thanks to young Master Yi's help. Otherwise we really can't vent our anger. No need to thank me. Yi Tianyan smiled indifferently. He himself has gained a lot of benefits here. There are a lot of materials here. He can upgrade his level. He can also improve his proficiency. Why not? In any case, on behalf of Rain Pavilion, I thank young Master Yi. Ziyue said solemnly. If possible, can I invite young Master Yi to become a guest of our Rain Pavilion? It doesn't matter if I become a guest elder, but I can't come here often. You have to think this through. If you think that I can always provide you with high-grade spirit weapons, then you're thinking too much. He couldn't stay here forever. He just came down to buy some things. If it wasn't for Kong Shengfeng, he probably wouldn't have worked so hard. He would only go according to the normal process, which was to purchase some materials, refine them successfully, sell them, and buy a portion of them back. This way they can slowly earn more money, so that Jade Palace can grow stronger. But he didn't do it for Jade Palace, but for his aunt. I've never thought of that. I just want young Master Yi to be a guest elder. You can come and visit when you're free. Ziyue knew that she could not force Yi Tianyan too much. As long as she kept Tianyan around, there would be opportunities in the future. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan for completing the quest. Help Rain Pavilion suppress Wind Pavilion. Gaining 5,000 EXP, 100 favorability points from Ziyue, 10 prestige points, 500 gold. Ding! Congratulations to player Tianyan for breaking through to 4th level Spirit Refinement Realm. That's it. It seems that Heaven's refinement is quite good. Tianyan was happy. Staying here to refine tools. Improving his cultivation is much faster than killing monsters. It's just that the reward is relatively low. It's not like killing monsters, there are a lot of items. Then I'll go back to my room to rest, and then I'll continue refining. Tianyan nodded. He felt a little dizzy. After saying goodbye, he planned to go back to his room to rest. But after a few days, he planned to go back, because there's not much time left in Heaven's immersing ancient ruins. When he returned to his room, he clicked on the property bar to see his current situation. Player, Tianyan level, 14 4th level Spirit Refinement Realm, EXP, Crazy Point, 382 Prestige, 20 points Cultivation Technique, Dark North Divine Art Martial Arts, Absorbing Stars Great Technique Eagle Claw Art, Falling Feather Sword Technique, Floating Cloud Steps Weapon, Frost Fist Armor, Snow Wolf Battle Boots, Divine Armor Divine Ability, Crazy Mode, Luck Aura Leveling Up experience has increased a lot. The difficulty has doubled. It's not as easy as before. But overall, it's still easy. At least it's better than those crazy cultivators who can't break through. Not bad, keep working hard. Tianyan nodded, just when he was about to rest. A cold light flickered from behind him, stabbing straight at his back. It was extremely fast and silent. Ding, warning, warning, danger, danger. The system's sound kept popping up, like an alarm, constantly reminding him. Is there an assassin? The next moment Tianyan shouted. Divine Armor, fully activated. The moment it was activated, Tianyan felt his back sink, and he was sent flying forward. But before he landed, he heard someone was sent flying, hit the wall, and let out a muffled groan. Who sneak attacked me? Tianyan was shocked. Everything was so quiet. He didn't notice it at all. If it wasn't for the system warning him to be sneak attacked, he really didn't know someone was sneak attacking him. He didn't expect this system to have an alarm function, reminding him who is going to sneak attack him. When he looked back, he found a man in black lying on the ground. Under the terrifying force, the other party was directly shocked and seriously injured. Fortunately, I have divine armor. Otherwise I would really die. Tianyan's eyes are cold, staring at the assassin. Divine armor effect. Has the effect of reflecting damage, can reflect half of the opponent's power back. But it is limited to melee damage. This power. The assassin struggled to climb up. He felt it was incredible. He didn't know what he stabbed. The terrifying force directly shocked him, and seriously injured him. Who the hell sent you here? Tianyan said coldly as he walked towards the assassin. Every step he took was heavy. The assassin's eyes moved slightly, suddenly bounced up and sprinted towards him. His speed is faster than the average Spirit Refinement Realm cultivator. The assassin's cultivation has reached the level of 3rd level of Spirit Refinement Realm, which is quite amazing. Freeze. At this moment, Tianyan used the effect of Frost Fist, spent some crazy point. The cold air suddenly came out, freezing the assassin in the air. The assassin suddenly became dumbfounded. He found that he can't move. I knew you would use this trick. You would rather die than admit it. That's good. Then you will become my experience. Crazy Mode Luck Aura activate. After activating Double Crazy, Tianyan swung his fist and hit the assassin heavily. The whole Frost Fist shined with a bright light. The assassin's eyes are glowing with blue light. But he can only watch Tianyan's attack. He can't even escape. He doesn't even have the chance to struggle. Boom. A heavy fist smashed down, and with a loud bang, the assassin was smashed into smithereens by this violent punch. Ding. Successfully killed assassin. Obtained 8,000 experience points. Obtained skill stealth. A shadow cloak, 1,000 gold tails. A scarlet dagger. Successfully killed assassin. 300 crazy point. Chapter 30. Skill Stealth, Shadow Cloak, Scarlet Dagger. All of them are artifact level stuff. When Tianyan learned about the effects of these three things, he was shocked. This time using luck aura was not a loss, but a big profit. Skill Stealth effect. Completely camouflage the body. Speed increased by 2 levels. Damage increased by 2 levels. Shadow Cloak effect. Immune to all attacks for 5 seconds. Scarlet Dagger effect. Bloodthirsty attack. Can restore the user's physical strength, with poison effect. Hit the vital part of the body and kill. But unfortunately, these weapons can't be upgraded. Including the skills, they can't be upgraded. All of them are fixed effects. But he also found that the weapons he obtained from killing monsters can't be upgraded. But the quality is not bad. He can use them for a long time. In general, it depends on the quality. At least the 3 in front of him are definitely assassination weapons. Absolutely enough for him to use for a long time. Shadow Cloak is the most amazing, immune to all attacks for 5 seconds. What does this mean? A life-saving talisman. No matter how strong the opponent's attack is, it can be immune for 5 seconds. There is no description of the limit, but he believes it is definitely not low. I'm really rich. It seems that this time my luck is really good. Crazy Point can only be obtained by killing monsters. The higher the cultivation, the more Crazy Point. In this way, it won't be difficult to accumulate 1,000 Crazy Point. Tianyan is very satisfied with the treasures he obtained this time. Before his cultivation was relatively low, he felt that the Crazy Point was relatively low, but now he can get so much Crazy Point by killing an assassin. It is enough for him to use for a long time. Immediately after the excitement, his eyes became cold. The assassin sent to assassinate me is either from Wind Pavilion or Master Kong. He thought about it, and finally searched the assassin who was killed, but there was only a pile of debris left. After turning into an ice sculpture, under this punch, the whole person was shattered. Before he killed the snow wolf with 1 punch. Now his strength is much stronger than before. In crazy mode, he killed the assassin with 1 punch. However, he was still able to find a storage ring among the clothes that had fallen off. After rummaging through the items inside, he found that there weren't many things inside, just some pills. However, he did find 2 low-grade spirit weapons. There was no label on the spirit tool, but judging from its quality, it should have been forged by Kong Shengfeng. Let's go to Wind Pavilion and find out who did it. Tianyan used his stealth skill and instantly disappeared in the darkness without a sound. He immediately jumped out of the window without making any sound. When he was about to go to Wind Pavilion, he heard a familiar voice in the dark corner. What are you doing up there? Aren't you afraid of exposing yourself with such a huge formation? Is this still an assassin from the Dark Shadow Alliance? How can he do it so badly? The one who spoke was none other than Kong Shengfeng. As expected, it was done by him. Apart from him, there really isn't anyone else. Tianyan's eyes were cold, and suddenly a scarlet dagger appeared in his hand. Originally in the dark night, the dagger could flow with red light, but under his stealth, there was no light. Ding! Accept the quest. Kill the enemy Kong Shengfeng. Quest reward, 10,000 EXP, 300 forging skill proficiency, 300 gold, 300 Crazy Point. Accept. Tianyan immediately accepted the quest. His eyes locked on Kong Shengfeng coldly. Information kept popping up in his mind. Name: Kong Shengfeng. Cultivation, 2nd level of Spirit Refinement Realm skills. Unknown. Comprehensive strength. Unknown. He doesn't care about this information. He only needs to know that his cultivation is only 2nd level of Spirit Refinement Realm. That's enough. In the next moment, he silently appeared behind Kong Shengfeng, brandished the dagger and ruthlessly stabbed at his back. Kong Shengfeng was still looking around. He didn't know that Tianyan has come behind him. Crazy mode activated. Luck aura activated. Puchi. The dagger easily pierced Kong Shengfeng's back like it was tofu, and it even pierced his heart. Kong Shengfeng only felt a chill in his heart. He looked down in the dark night. He still saw the red dagger that pierced his chest. Instantly felt his blood was quickly drawn out, and at the same time, a terrible toxin spread around his body. Want to assassinate me? You are still too far away. Tianyan's cold voice sounded in his ear. This familiar voice. How could he not know who it is? Suddenly his hands and feet were completely cold. But when he wanted to open his mouth to shout, he found that he couldn't say anything. When his last trace of consciousness came, the familiar face of Yi Tianyan came into view. But in the next second, he completely lost consciousness. Under this scarlet dagger, especially pierced through the heart, it is impossible for him to survive. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyan for killing Kong Shengfeng. Reward 6,000 EXP. 200 Crazy Point. Forging God Hammer. Ding! Congratulations on completing Kill Quest. Reward 10,000 EXP. 500 Crazy Point. 300 Forging Skill Proficiency. 300 Gold. The things that burst out are relatively limited, not particularly good, but it looks good. Forging God Hammer? Yi Tianyan checked the inventory, and the effect immediately appeared. Increases forging success rate. A certain chance to improve the quality of the item depends on the level of the character. This Forging God Hammer is not a weapon, nor is it a hammer. In fact, it is a mini hammer, can be used as an accessory. It is really a good thing. It can increase forging success rate. This is what I lack now. It also has a certain chance to improve the quality. It is really great. Yi Tianyan licked his lips. The things that burst out are good, but compared to the assassin, it is still too little. It is not that Kong Shengfeng has too little things, but his luck is not high, so there is no more good things. Shortly after, he lowered his head and looked at Kong Shengfeng, who had died with his eyes wide open. He raised a bottle of medicine and poured it on Kong Shengfeng's body. Then, with a sizzling sound, Kong Shengfeng turned into a puddle of blood, leaving no trace. This is what he got from the assassin. It is definitely a divine tool to destroy the corpse, an essential thing for an assassin. Now that it was used on them, it disappeared without anyone noticing. Sure enough, leaving this kind of person alive will only lead to endless troubles. Yi Tianyan's eyes are cold. Fortunately, the assassin is only dealing with him. If the assassin is sent to Enling, the result may be different. Chapter 31. When Yi Tianyan returned to his room, he found that Ziyue and others were all in the room. When they saw him jump up from downstairs, they all looked at him in surprise. Igongzi, what the hell happened? Ziyue looked at the blood on the ground and the assassin's torn clothes. She was shocked. Just now, Yi Tianyan's attack range was expanded to a range of 100 meters. Even if there was a room to block it, many people were still frozen in an instant. When they came back to their senses, they didn't know what happened. They were inexplicably frozen. Nothing, just killed an assassin. Yi Tianyan didn't hide anything. There is nothing to hide. Moreover, the body is here. He can't hide it even if he wanted to. Sure enough, it was an assassin. Did Wind Pavilion send someone? Ziyue's face became gloomy. They felt that they couldn't suppress them, so they sent assassins to assassinate them. This kind of thing did happen before, but she didn't expect it to be so fast. I don't know about this, Yi Tianyan said lightly. He didn't say the real situation. It's better to avoid trouble, so he didn't say it. Pavilion Master Z, the situation here is too bad. You don't even know that an assassin sneaked in. If something happened to my junior brother, how will you take responsibility? And Ling at this time, seeing the tragic situation on the ground, her back was cold. If Yi Tianyan died here, how will she explain it to Shi Shuiyan when she goes back? Shi Shuiyan let them out, in fact, to use them as guards. She didn't say so, but according to the degree of Shi Shuiyan's love for Yi Tianyan, they were sent to protect Yi Tianyan's safety. Their cultivation is higher than Yi Tianyan, so they are the most suitable guards. Being a guard is one thing, and understanding each other is another. But they didn't expect this kind of thing to happen. They were scared and broke out in cold sweat. Fortunately, their junior brother's cultivation is not bad. Otherwise it would be troublesome. Ziyue's face was gloomy. She was also aware of the severity of the situation. I am very sorry about this matter. I can only say that the security here is not strong enough. I will immediately send people to strengthen the security. Ziyue apologized sincerely. As compensation, I'm willing to give you 10% more. You'll get 60%. And we only want 40%. This was the simplest and crudest method. As for giving any pills or weapons, it was meaningless. As long as you had enough money, you could buy anything here. So there was no doubt that splitting the profits was the most suitable. There's no need. Even if you send out a few guards, you won't be able to stop them. This has nothing to do with you. This was the truth. This assassin's cultivation was not very high, but his concealment ability was quite strong. With the strength of heavenly rain building, they can't stop him at all. Unless they send someone above 8th or 9th level of spirit refinement realm, or someone who is extremely good at breaking the assassin's concealment technique, they can't see through him at all. This was obviously impossible. Generally, a strong cultivator above 8th or 9th level of spirit refinement realm belongs to the deacon level. It was impossible for them to be his guard here. Ziyue was embarrassed, and she felt quite guilty. If she doesn't compensate Yi Tianyan, she will leave a bad impression on Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan looked at her and smiled. Don't blame yourself. This has nothing to do with you. If Heavenly Wind Building really sent them, it was me who provoked them. From the beginning, it has nothing to do with you. If he didn't make so many spirit tools, he would definitely not send assassins to assassinate him. So the problem was obvious. That's true, but Yi Gongzi is our guest. It is a fact that we did not protect him well. The share will be calculated according to what we just did. This is the biggest compensation we can give you. Although it was only a 10% increase, it was already quite an amazing amount. Originally they provided the materials, so the cost was not low. According to this calculation, their profit is even lower. So this is already very sincere. Yi Tianyan didn't know what she meant by doing this. It was to leave a good impression on him, and continue to stay in Rain Pavilion. Profit is only a small part of it, but the main point is to help her revive Rain Pavilion, so almost all the profit is given to her. Pavilion Lord Z, I know your good intention, but this is not necessary. I plan to leave tomorrow. This has nothing to do with the situation of the assassins. Originally, the ultimate purpose of coming here was not for this matter. After preparing to buy some materials, we will return to Jade Palace. Whether the assassins come or not, he planned to go back. He has been staying here for a long time. There is no need to stay any longer. Ziyue's face changed. This is not a good thing for her. But she didn't say anything to persuade him to stay. She sighed deeply and said, Since Yi Gongzi has made up his mind, then I won't say anything more. In the future, if Yi Gongzi needs help from Rain Pavilion, I will definitely help. Yi Tianyan nodded. He still has a good impression of Ziyue. If he comes down in the future, he will definitely come to Rain Pavilion again. That night's episode ended just like that. Although Yi Tianyan said no, Ziyue still strengthened the guard. This is the only thing she can do. When the next day, Yi Tianyan has already purchased all kinds of materials. This time he earned at least 1,000,000 silver. It can be said that he is full. This is much more than the gold obtained from doing any task. Originally, the reward given by the task is nothing. Who gets rich by doing the task? It has always been killing monsters to accumulate wealth or sell things. Pavilion Master Z, then I will take my leave. Yi Tianyan said to Ziyue. Then you are welcome to come again in the future. We will definitely give Yi Gongzi a very favorable price. Ziyue smiled indifferently. This time, Rain Pavilion can firmly suppress Wind Pavilion. It has been a long time since this happened. She is satisfied. When they were about to leave, a guard rushed in from the outside and reported. Pavilion Lord Z, Skywind Pavilion is holding an auction, and they are going to auction a top-quality spiritual tool. And there are also a lot of high-grade spirit tools. The most important thing is that these are made by Wing Sect. Now a lot of people are running over there. They even said that in this Wind City, except for the spirit tools forged by Wing Sect, the rest of the spirit tools are garbage. This includes the spirit tools we sold before. They are all called garbage. Made by Wing Sect. Ziyue's face changed. I didn't expect Wind Pavilion to be able to invite Wing Sect. Wing Sect in Wind City is equivalent to a symbol of authority. They even carry out a blacksmith's assessment here. The assessment of the level of spirit tools is decided by them. Now they are saying that they sold garbage. Isn't this equivalent to saying that they are buying fake goods? Chapter 32. Ma Liangpeng. Tianyan squinted his eyes, suddenly more disgusted with Ma Liangpeng. Using his wing sect's background to deny everything? This is equivalent to saying that the high-grade spirit tool he forged is not a real high-grade spirit tool. It can only be regarded as a pseudo-high-grade spirit tool. The real value is only mid-grade spirit tool. Young Master Yi, do you know this Ma Liangpeng? Ziyue heard Tianyan said a name, curiously asked. I don't know this person, but I have heard a little about him. Tianyan said indifferently. Junior brother Yi. This Ma Liangpeng is one of the disciples sent by Wing sect to participate in the heavens immersing ancient ruins. I didn't expect him to be so arrogant. He even denied the spirit tool you forged. And Ling was furious. She wanted to rush to Wind Pavilion to argue with them. Although Wind Pavilion's announcement did not specifically say that their spirit tool is inferior, but it said that other spirit tools sold by other than Wind Pavilion are garbage. This is already very obvious. When they wanted to go to Wind Pavilion to argue, a group of people rushed in from outside, holding a high-grade spirit tool in their hands. They are all spirit tools bought here before. After rushing over, they said angrily, We want to return. Wing sect's disciple said that your spirit tool is a pseudo-high-grade spirit tool. In fact, it is equivalent to a mid-grade spirit tool. Yes, no wonder it was sold so cheap. It turned out to be a counterfeit. Take a mid-grade spirit tool and forge it into a high-grade spirit tool. Hurry up and give us a refund. No wonder I felt wrong when I used it. It turned out to be a mid-grade spirit tool. I didn't expect your Rain Pavilion to sell fake goods. They all shouted one after another. They all shouted that they want a refund. Several of them came to ask for a refund. Even a mid-grade spirit tool, they want a refund, thinking that it is a low-grade spirit tool. We can guarantee that this is absolutely a high-grade spirit tool. There is absolutely no problem with its power. Ziyue said solemnly. They must have personally verified it. It is completely a high-grade spirit tool, and even a very good high-grade spirit tool. You said it is useful? This time it was said by the people of Wing sect. Wing sect is the authority of blacksmiths here. I don't believe them. Do I believe you? That's right, you're all a bunch of liars. We want a refund. Wing sect is equivalent to an authority. No matter what they say, it doesn't make any sense. The words of authority were correct. Even if they were genuine, they would still be denied by a single sentence. Give them a refund. Tianyan's face was gloomy. This was nothing more than Wind Pavilion, using Wing sect to make things difficult for them. This was no longer a normal competition. Instead, they were using slander to suppress their opponents. This made the anger in his heart burn up. Then I'll give you a refund. Ziyue listened to Tianyan and gave them a refund. Immediately after the refund, Tianyan took the upper-level spirit tool and said to them, It seems that we can't leave this time. Let's go to Wind Pavilion. And Ling and Qin Shui both nodded. They also couldn't swallow this insult. How could they slander that their weapons weren't high-grade spirit tools? Ziyue also nodded and signaled the other guards to follow them. They walked directly into Wind Pavilion. The guards inside hurriedly intercepted them and stopped them from moving forward. At this time Liang Tianqing walked out. He had already expected that they would come to make trouble. Following him was a burly young man with a sharp face. His gaze was cold, and his tiger-like eyes glared at them. His aura was not weak. He is Ma Liangpeng, one of the most representative disciples of Wing sect. His cultivation is at the 4th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. It turns out that Pavilion Master Z is here. I don't know what's the problem. Liang Tianqing's eyes were filled with laughter. He clearly knows the answer. Pavilion Master Liang, you already know the answer? In addition to Wind Pavilion spirit tools, the rest are garbage. Doesn't this mean that the spirit tool we sold is not a real high-grade spirit tool? Ziyue's eyes are cold. Even if she is a woman, her aura is not weak. She can sit in the position of Pavilion Master. Yes, I have seen the high-grade spirit tool you refined. It is not a high-grade spirit tool at all. At most, it can only be a mid-grade spirit tool. Without waiting for Liang Tianqing to answer, Ma Liangpeng has already walked out and said with a straight face, "The real high-grade spirit tool is amazing. Yours are too weak." As he stood there, a powerful aura was released. However, a figure had already stepped forward and easily blocked this aura. "Is that so? Let's see whose high-grade spirit tool is stronger." The person who stood out is none other than Yi Tianyan. He looked at Ma Liangpeng coldly. He wants to see what a real high-grade spirit tool is. "Who are you?" Ma Liangpeng's gaze penetrated through him. "The pseudo-upper-grade spirit tool that you are talking about is made by me," Yi Tianyan said solemnly. "So this pseudo-high-grade spirit tool was made by you?" Ma Liangpeng looked up and down at Yi Tianyan. And there was a bit of surprise in his eyes, because Yi Tianyan is too young. And when he saw Ling and Qin Shui behind him, he suddenly laughed and said, "You are the trash of Jade Palace without blood chi? I can't believe you can also refine spirit tool. I wonder if you ask someone to help you refine spirit tool, and then you can make such a batch of pseudo-high-grade spirit tool." In Jade Palace full of female disciples, there is a man. This man is a useless trash. This news is very widespread, even Ma Liangpeng has heard about it. Useless trash. I don't know where you heard this useless information. Only a fool will believe it, Yi Tianyan said with a cold face. Don't you want to test the power of spirit tool? Then let's see whose spirit tool can hold. Are you calling me a fool? Ma Liangpeng really believed this news and said angrily, I want to see who is the fool. You want to compete? Then let's compete. Don't tell me you're letting someone else take on this round. Not you. My forged weapon was denied, of course. I will personally verify whether your weapon is fake or my weapon is fake, Yi Tianyan said solemnly. You have guts, Ma Liangpeng sneered. Well, let's compete outside. Let everyone witness who is the loser. No problem. Chapter 33. Yi Tianyan accepted the challenge, which caught Ling and Qin Shui off guard. They all know how strong Yi Tianyan's cultivation is. According to what they know, Yi Tianyan's cultivation is only at the first level of spirit refinement realm. This Ma Liangpeng's cultivation is at least at the fourth level of spirit refinement realm. How can they compete with him? Junior brother, you can't do this. His cultivation is much higher than yours. If you get injured, how can we go back and explain to the palace lord? And Ling hurriedly persuaded. Two senior sisters, I will come back soon. Don't worry about anything. I will make him pay the corresponding price. Yi Tianyan didn't say much. He took a heavy sword that he forged himself and went outside. The two senior sisters looked at each other. Yi Tianyan has already decided. It's useless for them to dissuade him. They can only go out and have a look. The weapon that he forged himself was said to be inferior. Anyone would be angry. When they went out, Ma Liangpeng was already standing outside waiting. Seeing Yi Tianyan coming out, he couldn't help but show a sarcastic smile. I thought you only know how to hide in a group of women. It seems that you have a bit of backbone. Yi Tianyan has been staying in Jade Palace. That is the so-called group of women. He was looked down by many men. In fact, it's more because of jealousy. I think even if I hide in a group of women, it's much better than slandering others. Yi Tianyan sneered. Whether it's slander or not, we will know later. Everyone here. Witness who has a more powerful weapon. Ma Liangpeng's eyes flashed with a bit of killing intent. He pulled out an upper-level spirit sword. A flash of light flowed on the blade. Around them, there has been a circle of people. All of them are passers-by. Seeing there is a good show to watch, they all came over. Of course, no problem. Yi Tianyan smiled indifferently and continued to raise the heavy sword in his hand and said, I will use this heavy sword to test your so-called high-level spirit tool. What is it like? When the crowd saw the comparison between the two, they shook their heads. Yi Tianyan was using a heavy sword, while Ma Liangpeng was using a thin sword. Without a doubt, Ma Liangpeng would have an easier time. With its nimble body, it was able to toy with Yi Tianyan in the palm of its hand. Just in terms of weapons, they felt that Yi Tianyan had lost. This is just an ordinary spar, not a duel to the death. I hope that there won't be any killing intent. Ziyue came out, looked coldly at Liang Tiancheng and said, If you kill our guest, then don't blame us for being impolite. Of course. We're just sparring. We won't kill you. Ma Liangpeng was the one who answered her. Ma Liangpeng's eyes showed a disdainful look. A thin sword against a heavy sword. He can play Yi Tianyan to death. The two people confronted each other, and the audience was already very lively. This guest of Rain Pavilion must be an idiot. A heavy sword against a thin sword. Isn't it obvious that he is looking for death? How could the disciple of Wing Sect lose? Just the weapons look different. I think this time the guest of Rain Pavilion will lose. I guess he fainted and just went on the stage. The level of Wing Sect's refining is not just a joke. Even if it's just weapons, Wing Sect will definitely win. The people around are not optimistic about Yi Tianyan. They can see the gap between the weapons, plus the status of Wing Sect. Everyone is willing to believe that Wing Sect's weapons, whether it is power or durability, are better than Yi Tianyan. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for provoking the power of our Wing Sect. He narrowed his eyes, and there was a bit of killing intent towards Yi Tianyan. Especially when he knew that Yi Tianyan is from Jade Palace. This level of forging will only cause trouble in the future. The next moment, Ma Liangpeng raised the thin sword in his hand and used Sky Cloud Step, as if turned into a flying cloud, quickly flew over to Yi Tianyan, like a gust of wind. In the blink of an eye he flashed to the side of Yi Tianyan, raised the thin sword and stabbed towards Yi Tianyan. He didn't use any martial arts, just purely stabbing, but the speed is quite fast, directly stabbing the vital part of Yi Tianyan. This is not a sparring match, it's simply a fight. Yi Tianyan's eyes are cold, raised his hand and raised the heavy sword, like a shield in front of him. Dang! The thin sword stabbed the heavy sword. Because it is too thin, when it stabbed the heavy sword, it was bent into a semicircle by the force of the shock. Ma Liangpeng's eyes narrowed. The thin sword in his hand quickly retracted, flashed to the back of Yi Tianyan, and quickly stabbed. But what greeted him is Yi Tianyan's heavy sword, like a huge shield blocking this attack. Dang dang dang. Ma Liangpeng quickly changed the direction. No matter how he stabbed, it was blocked by Yi Tianyan's heavy sword, unable to stab him at all. According to this situation, it is Ma Liangpeng who is consuming energy, and his consumption is even less. Just the strength? That's too disappointing. Yi Tianyan glanced at him faintly. He did not move half a step, just using this heavy sword as a shield, constantly resisting his attack. In the next moment, he swung the heavy sword in his hand and smashed it with a backhand. The violent power was swung by him, and a wave of air swept up. It was as if the entire sky was being slapped down by his heavy sword. With this strength, you want to suppress me? Get lost! Ma Liangpeng roared. The thin sword in his hand emitted a dazzling light. Under his strength, the whole thin sword turned into an incomparably hard iron pillar, fiercely stabbing at the heavy sword that was slapping down. Direct confrontation. Dang! The two collided head-on. The violent weight was stopped. Ma Liangpeng's cultivation is not bad. He has been refining weapons all year round. His strength is not too weak. Crazy power mode activate. In the next moment, Yi Tianyan's eyes burst out a golden light, immediately activating the power mode of crazy mode. In an instant, the explosive force increased by 2 times. Dong! The sudden and violent power instantly bent the rapier. The terrifying power made Ma Liangpeng unable to react. The power was several times heavier than before. It heavily pressed down, and together with the rapier's blade, it hit him at the same time. Bang! Ma Liangpeng was shaken out. After a dozen steps back, he barely stopped. Under this heavy pressure, he was shaken to internal injury. He felt a sweetness in his throat. A stream of blood flowed out from his mouth and dripped to the ground. This scene made Ling and the others shocked. What happened to the level of 1st level spirit refinement realm? This is the level of 4th or 5th level spirit refinement realm. Yi Tianyan looked at him coldly. The heavy sword in his hand was not injured at all. No matter how many times it was poked, there is no scratch on it. On the contrary, the thin sword was bent many times, looking so fragile. Chapter 34. Yi Tianyan looked at him coldly, and proved that his weapon was not weak. If the weapon in his hand was a middle-grade spirit weapon, then it would really be pierced by the sword. Or if it was stabbed a few more times, it would crack. This is the impact of different levels of spirit weapons. It is easy to be destroyed. The strength of the spirit weapon is relatively high, and with the lower grade weapon, it is obvious that the lower grade weapon is at a disadvantage. Now there is no damage at all, but Ma Liangping's weapon was bent. Although it is not the same type of weapon, it can be seen that Ma Liangping's upper grade spirit weapon is slightly worse than Yi Tianyun's. Everyone looked at each other. Before, they thought that Yi Tianyun's weapon was a middle grade spirit weapon, but now it is incredible. Is it really an upper grade spirit weapon? Was it just the Wing sect that was talking nonsense and slandering them? You actually hurt me. Ma Liangping reached out and wiped the blood from his mouth. His eyes flashed with killing intent. He gripped the rapier tightly and roared. He slashed the ground with all his might, leaving a mark on the hard ground. The aura of the 4th level of the body refinement realm was completely released. The speed of his footwork soared again. It was several times faster than before. Like lightning, he flashed to the side of Yi Tianyan in the blink of an eye. He waved the sword and stabbed it. Gale stab. Under the stab, it was like a tornado sweeping over here. It pierced through the shoulder of Yi Tianyan. The speed was much faster than before. Especially with the use of martial arts, the power has been greatly increased. Layers of qi appeared on the thin sword, and it instantly became several times wider. This was the result of the spiritual power circulating within it, which caused it to erupt with even greater power. Get lost. Yi Tianyan completely ignored this attack. He swung the heavy sword and pressed it. The blue veins on his arm were bulging. Crazy mode was activated again. His strength increased by 2 times. Under this pressure, the rapier was forced to bend again. The violent force couldn't break through the pressure of the heavy sword, and it was immediately pressed down by Yi Tianyan, as if Mount Tai was pressing down. Bang! Ma Liangping was forced back once again. However, this wasn't the end. Yi Tianyan continued to swing his heavy sword. The heavy sword, which had no weight, displayed a speed that wasn't any slower than the rapier. Ma Liangping's expression changed, and he quickly swung his sword to block the attack. However, what greeted him was the outcome of being bent by the heavy sword. There was no change from before. The difference was that this time, Ma Liangping was heavily smashed into the ground, a terrifying weight pressing down on him. Boom! Ma Liangping was heavily pressed to the ground. This force of over 1,000 genes crushed several of his bones. The intense pain almost made him faint. At this point, it could be said that it was over. The winner and the loser had already been decided. Ma Liangping was suppressed to the point that he couldn't breathe. He didn't even have the chance to resist. He was continuously slapped back, and in the end, he was directly injured and collapsed to the ground. On the other side, Liang Tiancheng's expression was ugly. He didn't expect that Ma Liangping would be beaten to the point that he couldn't fight back. It was very different from what he had imagined. At first, he thought that Yi Tianyan would be beaten to the ground and lose completely. Now, it seemed that they were wrong. They were too naive. This scene stunned everyone. They couldn't believe the scene in front of them. Ma Liangping was defeated just like that? This was completely effortless. Yi Tianyan didn't even move much. With this terrifying violence, he had completely crushed him. Ziyue looked at Yi Tianyan from the side. She felt that Yi Tianyan still had some moves that he hadn't displayed yet. What he displayed now was only a portion of his strength. The most important thing was that he was so young. It was beyond their imagination. Under normal circumstances, those who knew how to forge wouldn't be too young, especially those who were proficient in it. Yi Tianyan seemed to have broken this convention. He was young, but his cultivation wasn't low. His forging level wasn't low either. He was definitely a monstrous genius. On the stage, Yi Tianyan put away his heavy sword. He looked at Ma Liangping, who was lying on the ground, and said coldly, "You lost. Your weapon isn't any better. How can you say that my weapon is weaker than yours?" "I didn't lose." Ma Liangping's eyes were filled with killing intent. He endured the sharp pain and didn't hesitate to swing his thin sword to counterattack. The power of his attack was a bit stronger than before. However, the heavy sword was a bit faster. It slashed horizontally in front of him. Pucci! Ma Liangping was cut in half at the waist. Even the arm that was holding the thin sword to sneak attack was cut in half. Without any hesitation, it was directly cut in half. Ma Liangping's eyes widened. His body fell down. Blood flowed all over the ground. It looked very bloody. Those who haven't seen such a scene before turned their heads to the side and vomited. But Yi Tianyan didn't have any problem. You lost and you still want to sneak attack me. Unfortunately, you are not qualified. Yi Tianyan's eyes were cold. He wanted to kill him with every move. How can this be called a spar? If this is called a spar, then what is the life and death battle? From the beginning, Ma Liangping wanted to kill him. Since that's the case, he can't be merciful. He will kill him without mercy. The result of being merciful is his death. Killed Ma Liangping gain 10,000 EXP, 1000 gold, wind chasing sword art, sky cloud step, 400 crazy point. Ding, congratulations, completed task, gain 5,000 EXP, 500 blacksmithing proficiency, 500 gold. Even if he used luck aura, he didn't get many good things. Either Ma Liangping is too poor, or his character value is not high enough. But compared to this, everyone was shocked, including Ziyue and the others. They were shocked by this scene. He didn't hesitate to kill. Even if it was a disciple of Wing sect, he still had to kill. Yi Tianyan has always been like this. He is always forgiving. But the other party is not sensible. What else can he say? Oh my god, Wing sect's disciple was killed. Isn't this Rain Pavilion's guest too cruel? Didn't you see that Wing sect's disciple wanted to kill him? It's normal to fight back. It's over. He killed Wing sect's disciple, he must be dead. He provoked Wing sect. See how he will die. Everyone shook their heads. If it were them, they would have tolerated it. At most, they would have hidden and not counterattacked. After all, killing Ma Liangping is not as simple as killing, but provoking the whole Wing sect behind him. The meaning is completely different. This is the whole force, completely different from an individual. Liang Tianqing was shocked, and immediately said angrily, You actually killed Ma Liangping. Arrest him and take him back to Wing sect. Ma Liangping is a guest of Wind Pavilion. Now that Ma Liangping is killed, they can't escape the responsibility. If they don't take Yi Tianyan back, they will be in trouble. Chapter 35. In the face of the many guards of Wind Pavilion, he is not afraid at all. The heavy sword in his hand is blocking the way. He glanced at the crowd coldly. He wants to see who is the first to make a move. You dare to resist? Do you know that you killed a disciple of Wing sect? If you don't surrender, you will drag your Jade Palace down. Liang Tianqing used Jade Palace. This is to force Yi Tianyan to surrender. Jade Palace is weaker than Wing sect. So if they fight, naturally Jade Palace will lose. He knows that Yi Tianyan is from Jade Palace, so he used this to threaten him. Oh, it seems that you are really unreasonable. He can kill me. I can't kill him. Yi Tianyan sneered. What kind of bullshit is this? You think you are invincible just because you are more powerful. So what? If you don't surrender today, your Jade Palace will be dragged down by Wing sect. Liang Tianqing is also angry. A junior dares to be arrogant in front of him? He is a pavilion master. To be able to sit in this position is naturally not simple. Pavilion Master Liang, you are really good. Even third-level forces dare not say this casually. Can you represent Wing sect now? Qin Shui stood up with cold eyes. She saw from the beginning to the end. Wing sect has always been wrong. And now they dare to threaten Jade Palace. It makes her even more unhappy. Jade Palace is relatively weak, but there are many marriages, among which there are many marriages between third-level forces. Once something happens, external forces will still reach out to help. However, he wouldn't help in ordinary matters. He would only make use of this relationship when it was a matter of life and death. After all, marrying over doesn't mean that the other side is equal to their own, so they have to be cautious. Therefore, although other forces are arrogant, but they dare not really do anything at will. Otherwise they will provoke more than just one force. Liang Tianqing was suddenly at a loss for words. He can only represent Wind Pavilion, not Wing sect. But he immediately said angrily, But no matter what, you have to go back to Wing sect with me. Otherwise don't blame me for being rude. If he really went to the Wing sect with Liang Tiancheng, then when Yi Tianyan came back, he would definitely not look like a human. After killing their disciple, they wouldn't let him go so easily. If they really wanted to bring him back, they would have to pay a huge price. Ziyue couldn't say anything at this moment. She didn't dare to say that the Rain Pavilion supported Yi Tianyan anymore. This was a minefield. She did not dare to speak carelessly. She could not bear the responsibility. Although he was a pavilion master, it did not mean that he had a lot of real power, especially in a battle between forces like this. She struggled internally for a long time. Yi Tianyan had helped her so much. It didn't seem right for her not to stand up and support him. Ziyue watched for a while, and finally decided to stand up and say something. However, just as he was about to step forward, he was pulled back by the elder beside him. Pavilion Master Z, don't be rash. He is not worthy of our help. Wing sect is not something we can provoke. The elder said solemnly. Ziyue can't intervene casually. Yi Tianyan killed Ma Liangpeng. This is a very serious matter. It is not something that can be easily solved. Therefore, she can only watch from the side and dare not intervene. Once she intervenes, it is tantamount to supporting Yi Tianyan to kill Ma Liangpeng, which will bring trouble to the Rain Pavilion. This responsibility she can't afford it. What guest elder, she can only leave it behind. The reality is so cruel. Unless Yi Tianyan is really worth it. Ziyue bit her lips and finally gave up. She can represent herself, but she can't represent the Rain Pavilion. But after she really stood up, she is completely out of the Rain Pavilion. But Yi Tianyan didn't care at all. He looked at Liang Tiancheng and said coldly, I only represent myself. From now on, I am no longer an outer disciple of Jade Palace. I would like to see how you are going to treat me. He knows that Shi Shuiyan will definitely protect him, but he doesn't want to drag Jade Palace down. So he chose to quit Jade Palace, and no longer an outer disciple. And Ling and Qin Shui's face changed. They don't know why Yi Tianyan is doing this, but without the support of Jade Palace, Liang Tiancheng will certainly be unscrupulous. Good, you have courage. Capture him for me. I want him alive. After Liang Tiancheng heard this, he laughed loudly. Now he doesn't have to worry about Jade Palace. Immediately, 3 deacons rushed out from the side and rushed towards Yi Tianyan without hesitation. Each of them burst out with their strongest power. 4th or 5th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. The deacons here are at the 4th or 5th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. They can deal with some enemies at the critical moment. Good. The snow wolf boots on his feet emitted a blue light, and his speed suddenly increased several times. He turned into a blue light rushing forward. Whether it is speed or strength, he burst out to the extreme. Especially after activating crazy mode, his damage is doubled. In the blink of an eye, he raised the heavy sword and rushed over. Like a blue comet, he smashed it down on the deacon, who was the first to pounce on him. Crazy mode activate. Crazy damage mode activate. Luck aura activate. Boom! The deacons didn't react, and was smashed to the ground by the heavy sword. He screamed and died. Their cultivation is not as good as Yi Tianyan, or at the same level as him. In crazy mode, their power is doubled. How can they resist? Go to hell! The moment he fell, he quickly slashed at the deacon's waist. The sharp heavy sword cut through the deacon's waist, and he let out a scream before he breathed his last. Ding! Successfully killed Wind Pavilion deacons. Gained 8,000 EXP. A 3rd level recovery spirit pill. 400 crazy point. Then he rushed towards the deacons, like a berserk beast. The heavy sword weighing more than 300 or 400 pounds is so light in his hand. But when they collided with the deacons, their attacks were so weak. Bang! The 2 deacons' attacks were knocked away. The moment he was sent flying, blue veins popped out on his arm that was gripping the heavy sword tightly. He aimed at the front and fiercely slashed, a terrifying blade aura sweeping forward. Wind chasing slash. This is the move that Ma Liangpeng used before. But with the heavy sword, the power is doubled. Puchi! The 20 feet long wind blade swept over and cut the rapidly retreating deacon in half at the waist. He was dead. Ding! Successfully killed Wind Pavilion deacons. Gained 10. 000 EXP. A third-level recovery spirit pill. A berserk pill 500 crazy point. After killing the deacons, he didn't stop. He used Sky Cloud Step and rushed forward. His speed increased again. In the blink of an eye, he caught up with the deacons, and then slashed down madly, cutting the deacons in half. The incomparably huge wind blade slashed horizontally. The wind blade was like cutting through a piece of tofu, easily piercing through. Ding! Successfully killed Wind Pavilion deacons. Gain 10,000 EXP. A double EXP pill 10 minutes. 500 crazy point. Ding! Congratulations to player Etianyan for successfully breaking through to the 5th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. Chapter 36. In the blink of an eye, 3 deacons were killed. All of them were at the 4th or 5th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. They were easily beheaded, which made everyone dumbfounded. It was like cutting melons and vegetables. There was no difficulty at all. Who else? Etianyan looked at them coldly and said in a deep voice, "You are the one who did the wrong thing, and you still think you are right? You want to compete with your fists, right? I want to see what kind of ability you have." Etianyan's performance was beyond everyone's expectations. Especially the moves he used were all the same moves Ma Liangping used before. And in the blink of an eye, Etianyan used them all. They don't think that Etianyan can use Wing Sex moves. Did he learn it first? Ziyue and Enling are also dumbfounded. Etianyan seems to have become stronger? You actually killed 3 of our deacons. We will fight you to the death. Liang Tiancheng is about to explode. He thought that 3 deacons can easily kill him. But he didn't expect that 3 deacons were killed instead. From what you said just now, I will not rest until I die with your Wind Pavilion. Etianyan's eyes are cold. Ma Liangpeng turned a blind eye to him. But he still wants to talk about the law of the jungle. That's good. He will talk about the law of the jungle with them. Good. You're really courageous. Then let me see what you can do. Liang Tiancheng is about to explode. Under the anger, his power erupted, and his cultivation reached the 7th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. When he broke out, Etianyan saw the name above his head suddenly turn golden. Boss-level character. After completely transforming into an enemy, the name will turn golden, before it is white. Ding, do you accept the task of killing Liang Tiancheng? Reward: 30,000 EXP, 10,000 gold strength belt, 5 times EXP card 1 hour. An extremely tempting reward popped up again. As expected of a boss-level character, after completing the character, the reward was slightly higher than normal quests. However, to him, the most tempting thing was the kill reward. The reward was what he was looking forward to the most. Haha, I didn't expect you to transform into a boss. I was waiting for you. Etianyan let out a loud laugh. Without the slightest bit of fear, he met the attack head-on. Raising his heavy sword, he used Sky Cloud Steps and charged forward. His crazy mode continued to be activated. Since he got a lot of crazy point, he didn't have to worry about running out of crazy points. Previously, he felt that his crazy point was low because his level was too low. But now it seems that as long as he doesn't waste it, it won't be used up so quickly. His speed was amazing, but Liang Tiancheng was even faster. Holding a high-grade spirit sword in his hand, he rushed over and glared at him with bloodshot eyes. Don't you dare be so arrogant. Myriad swords become one. In the blink of an eye, it was as if 10,000 swords had stabbed out. But only one could be seen with the naked eye. Vaguely, one could see the fluctuations of the surrounding chi strength. Gusts of whirlwinds were blowing around him, sweeping in all directions. Chasing wind slash. Etianyan let out a furious roar, and fiercely slashed forward. A 20 feet long wind blade slashed down vertically. The ground was scratched by this wind blade, and a cloud of dust was kicked up. Bang! When the two collided, the wind blade was easily pierced through. It was pierced by the 10,000 swords, and turned into a wisp of wind. The gap between the two was too big. Even though they were 2 levels apart, their strength was completely different. Go to hell! Liang Tiancheng roared. He didn't plan to capture Etianyan alive. He just wanted to kill him on the spot. In the face of Liang Tiancheng, who rushed over like a gust of wind, Tianyan quickly raised the heavy sword in his hand and blocked in front of him. Dang dang dang. Crazily stabbing the sword, although it didn't stab Tianyan, but the crazy heavy blow made him retreat again and again, and immediately with a poochie sound, blood flew out, and then the heavy sword fell to the ground. Tianyan continuously retreated a few steps. There was a deep scratch on his palm. Obviously he was injured by Liang Tiancheng's move. Otherwise he wouldn't have lost this heavy sword. If he didn't do this, then it wouldn't be as simple as losing the heavy sword, but losing one of his hands. Junior brother! Qin Shui and the others wanted to rush over, but Tianyan hurriedly shouted, "Don't come over. I am no longer a disciple of Jade Palace. I don't want to drag Jade Palace down, so don't interfere please." Qin Shui and the others stopped. Their beautiful eyes flashed. They also hesitated. They are not as domineering as Shi Xueyan. They don't have deep feelings for Tianyan. Especially when it comes to the relationship between the two families, they really don't have the qualifications to decide this kind of thing. You still have some sense of responsibility. Now you don't even have a weapon. How are you going to fight me? Liang Tiancheng stepped on the heavy sword and immediately kicked it away, not giving Tianyan a chance to get it. Who said I don't have a weapon? Tianyan equipped himself with Frost Fist. This is his real trump card. And took the double EXP pill that he got before. The boss's EXP is not low. He will not waste this opportunity. This is a glove. After Liang Tiancheng saw it, he was a little surprised, and then immediately laughed. You want to fight me with this? Well, I will fulfill your wish. I will let you die without a complete corpse. As soon as his voice fell, he flew over, waved the spirit sword in his hand and stabbed again. 10,000 swords as one. The air is filled with shio 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 sound. If you are stabbed, you will be stabbed into a sieve. Freeze! Tianyan showed a trace of sneer. Crazy Point instantly exploded. In an instant within 100 meters. Everyone is instantly frozen. Standing a little bit closer, immediately frozen. Needless to say, Liang Tiancheng, who rushed up, was directly frozen. Fell from the air and stood on the ground, deadlocked. At this moment he rushed over, grabbed Liang Tiancheng's arm with both fists, and crazily cast Absorbing Star's great technique. The power in Liang Tiancheng's body is madly extracted, continuously turned into EXP in his body. Gained 500 EXP, 460 EXP, 570 EXP, 630 EXP. Under the crazy stacking of EXP card, the EXP turned to an incredible value. In the blink of an eye, he absorbed tens of thousands of EXP. Liang Tiancheng, who is stiff in place, can't move. He can't get rid of this attack. He is going crazy. Especially when he felt the spiritual power in his body is constantly being extracted. His anger skyrocketed. Crack! At this time, the layer of ice on his body began to crack. Obviously it can't be frozen for too long. If the cultivation is too high, it can't be frozen for too long. Especially when his Frost Fist has not been upgraded. The effect is still relatively limited. It seems that it's over. Chapter 37. Liang Tiancheng was easily knocked out. Everyone was stunned. They don't know what just happened. Liang Tiancheng seemed to be bewitched. He couldn't move and let Tianyan attack him. Because most of them were more than 100 meters away. Naturally they were not affected by this effect. How is this possible? Liang Tiancheng's sternum was broken by this punch. His whole chest is sunken. It seems that even if he is not dead, he only has a few breaths left. Nothing is impossible. You are too weak. Tianyan waved his fist. There is no trace of emotion in his cold eyes. In the face of Tianyan's fist, Liang Tiancheng's eyes showed horror. He hurriedly shouted, Let me go. I will let Wing Sect no longer pursue you. Trash. Tianyan punched down heavily. Liang Tiancheng was scared out of his wits. He hurriedly shouted, Quick, save me. Liang Tiancheng shouted. But who can come to rescue him? Their cultivation is relatively low. The deacons are dead. The rest are body refinement realm guards. Even if they want to rescue him, it is too late. Luck aura activated. Boom. Tianyan has already smashed down heavily. Liang Tianqing died on the spot. So what if his cultivation is higher than him by 2 levels? He can still fight higher-level opponents. Sometimes cultivation is not the deciding factor, but a comprehensive factor, such as having a good weapon effect, is also the key. Ding. Successfully killed Liang Tianqing. Gained 80,000 EXP 5,000 gold, power bracelet, power ring, martial art 10,000 swords returned to origin, wind chasing blade, spirit tool, 700 crazy point. Ding completed the task of killing Liang Tianqing. Reward 30,000 EXP 10,000 gold, power belt, 5 times EXP card 1 hour. Ding. Congratulations to player Tianyan. Successfully broke through to 6th level spirit refinement realm. Things burst out like crazy. The EXP stacked up to 110,000. Immediately let him level up. The thrill of leveling up was unprecedented. Sure enough, the experience pill was useful. After stacking up, the experience points skyrocketed. There are so many things. They're all power type stuff. What are they? He checked the 3 items in his inventory. They were all decorative items that he could carry with him at all times. Strength bracelet. Increases user's strength by 20%. Power ring effect. Increases user's strength by 10%. Power belt effect. Increases user's strength by 20%. With the 3 attributes stacked together, my strength is increased by 50%. Doesn't that mean that my strength has been increased by another 50%? Tianyan was stunned. This was a good item. If he could only carry 1,000 gene of force, with the 3 pieces, he could carry 1,500 gene. Other than that, the 10,000 ancestral swords had also dropped. However, none of them could be leveled up, including the power rings. It seemed that the only way to level up was through the lottery. These were all fixed types, not growth types. Among them, although the wind chasing blade could not be leveled up, the effect is amazing. When attacking, there is a chance to produce lightning effect. After hitting the opponent, it can slow down the opponent's speed. When he was surprised, the surrounding people were in an uproar. Liang Tianqing's situation shocked them. They did not expect that as the Pavilion Lord of Wind Pavilion, he was killed by Tianyan. For a time, blood flowed like a river, and several people were killed. Isn't this young master a little too powerful? Ziyue was dumbfounded. She thought that Liang Tianqing would control him, but she did not expect that he would be killed so easily. The people of Wind Pavilion were dumbfounded. The people of Rain Pavilion were also dumbfounded. And the onlookers were also dumbfounded. Junior brother is too powerful. Pavilion Lord Liang's cultivation is at least at the 7th level of spirit refinement realm. And Ling and the others were shocked. What happened to the 1st level of spirit refinement realm? Why did he tell them that it was the 1st level of spirit refinement realm? In fact, this is not wrong, but this is the initial data. Now he is not at the 1st level of spirit refinement realm, but at the 6th level of spirit refinement realm. Young Master E, hurry up. If you don't leave now, it will be too late. Wind Pavilion and Wing Sect will not let you go. The first one to speak to him is Ziyue. Tianyan smiled indifferently, and quickly took off the storage ring on his hand, and threw it to Enling and said, "Senior sisters, this thing is for you to take back. This is my fault, I will take it all myself. Go back and tell the palace lord. Don't worry about me. Jiulingyun and the others, I will leave them to you, please." After that he ran out of the city. He knows that this time he killed the Pavilion Lord of Wind Pavilion. The real strong is still waiting for him. Wing Sect is even more so. Under his provocation, there will be a lot of strong cultivators coming to kill him. At that time, the peak of Spirit Refinement Realm, or even Core Condensation Realm elders will come out to kill him. With his current cultivation, he can't bear it at all. The anger of the 2 factions will not be easily extinguished. If he goes back, sure Shuiyan will choose to protect him no matter what. Junior brother. And Ling's eyes are red, but they can't do anything. They can only hold the storage ring tightly, ready to go back and report to Shi Shuiyan. When they were ready to leave, a terrifying aura rushed from a distance and shouted, "Kid, don't go." The one who rushed over is an old man. The cultivation released by him is extremely amazing, peak of spirit refinement realm. Murderous aura soared to the sky, like a demon god. He chased Etianyan straight away. The distance between them suddenly narrowed. This is Wing Sec's Deacon Fu. It seems that Wing Sec's Deacon Fu is staying in Wind City. I don't know why he didn't come. It's over, he provoked Wing Sect. That kid is dead. How can he escape this time? This is the peak of spirit refinement realm. Much stronger than before. Just from the momentum can be seen. It can be seen that Etianyan is not a little bit stronger. Junior brother, run away. And Ling prayed in her heart. They only hope that Etianyan can escape from this devil's clutches. Many people think that Etianyan can't create a miracle. Maybe the difference in cultivation is not very big before. So he can deal with it. But now there is a deacon. How can he deal with it? In the distance, Etianyan felt a strong murderous aura behind him. His eyes narrowed. The snow wolf boots on his feet with sky cloud step. His speed increased to the extreme, turned into a gust of wind, and rushed out of the city. His heart has always been calm. There is no ripple, he is very calm. Chapter 38. Deacon Fu's cultivation has reached the peak of spirit refinement realm, which is 4 levels higher than him. So it is undoubtedly very dangerous to fight him head-on. Just from this point of view, the gap between the two is too big. What a strong boss. I didn't expect to kill a super boss. The reward must be good. When he saw the golden name on top of Deacon Fu's head, he was tempted by the reward. But he felt that he can't easily kill Deacon Fu with his current strength. If he really fights, it will be life-threatening. But he only has 1 life. How can he dare to fight casually? Even if he has the effect of Frost Fist, but his level is not high enough. He can't freeze Deacon Fu for too long. Before Liang Tianqing couldn't hold on for too long, Deacon Fu must be even shorter. Although the effect of Frost Fist is invincible, it doesn't mean that it is really invincible. If the level is too low, it can't affect them for too long. It seems that it is necessary to quickly upgrade this thing. Fight or not? Etianyan squinted his eyes, constantly thinking about whether to fight Deacon Fu or not. There is a gap between them, but it doesn't mean that there is no chance. In order to avoid Deacon Fu's pursuit, he shuttled between the houses to continue to open the distance. However, Deacon Fu will not give up at all. He has a lot of responsibility for the death of his Wing Sec's disciple. I didn't expect this to happen. I was too negligent, damn it. Deacon Fu is very angry. He was originally a guest at the city lord's place, but when he came back, he heard that Ma Liangping is dead. Then he chased straight, and under the rage, his strength completely broke out. He stared at Etianyan, not giving him the slightest chance to escape. It's just that Etianyan kept hiding between the houses, making him feel quite troublesome. No matter where you hide, it is useless. I have locked you, you can't escape. Deacon Fu's eyes are cold. His spiritual sense is completely locked on Etianyan. As long as the distance is not too far, he can always lock. But when he continued to chase, after a corner, he suddenly felt that his spiritual sense has lost its target. What's going on? Deacon Fu was shocked. After turning a corner, he suddenly couldn't sense Etianyan anymore. It was as if he had vanished into thin air, completely gone. He quickly chased after Etianyan and looked around, but he couldn't find any trace of Etianyan. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Bastard, where is he? Deacon Fu angrily punched the house next to him. With a loud bang, the house collapsed. Fortunately, there was no one inside, otherwise they would have been crushed to death. He was furious and looked around, his eyes filled with anger. Brat, I know you must be nearby. Don't come out if you have the guts. Jade Palace, right? I remember there were people from Jade Palace just now. I'll go and grab them now. Pinch them to death one by one, or throw them to the other disciples to play with. This is all your responsibility. Etianyan, who was hiding in the dark, had a cold look in his eyes. He hated this kind of situation the most in his life. Family members should not be implicated. If Enling and Qin Shui were caught and humiliated because of him, he would never forgive himself. It seems that you forced me to do this. Wing Sec trash. Crazy power mode activate. He put on power bracelet, power ring and power belt. Ding! Successfully activated set attribute. Bonus effect by 50%. After the bonus of 50%, the overall bonus is equal to 100%, which is equivalent to doubling the power. But this is not the end. He took out the violent pill that exploded before and stuffed it into his mouth. The power in his body quickly doubled again and activated crazy effect mode. Take any pill, the effect will be doubled. In an instant, his strength is strengthened by 6 times. In his eyes, blood flashed, and his strength was exerted to the extreme. His body was expanded by a circle, and he felt unprecedentedly powerful. Buzz! Suddenly, a figure appeared. It was Tianyan. He hid behind Deacon Fu and appeared. A scarlet dagger stabbed into Deacon Fu's chest. Everything was silent. However, compared to this scarlet dagger, Tianyan's eyes are redder, and his eyes are full of anger. What he hates most is to transfer the hatred to his relatives. In this case, even if it costs his life, he must kill Deacon Fu. Deacon Fu immediately felt a sense of crisis coming from behind. In an instant, he quickly dodged to the side, but he still couldn't dodge in time, and was stabbed by the scarlet dagger. Poochie! The scarlet dagger only penetrated an inch deep, but Tianyan didn't expect Deacon Fu to be wearing a thin soft armor. But under Tianyan's violent power, the dagger directly penetrated into the body, and several bones were broken. Get out of my way! The severe pain made Deacon Fu roar. He swung his hand, and picked up the high-grade spiritual sword in his hand, and slashed at his waist. The sharp sword edge is the wind-chasing stab. Tianyan didn't dodge. His eyes were full of anger, and his body suddenly flashed with dazzling light. Divine armor effect activate. Dang! A violent shock came, and Tianyan was shaken out, but so was Deacon Fu. He was bounced out by the terrible counterforce, and his hand was almost broken. Tianyan's situation is not good, and his internal organs are in a mess, and he suffered serious injuries. However, he quickly took a 3rd-grade recovery pill, and in the blink of an eye, he recovered more than half of his injuries. As expected of a 3rd-grade recovery pill, the effect is amazing, especially in the crazy effect mode. It doubles. Tianyan didn't dare to relax. He didn't expect that he couldn't kill Deacon Fu even after he strengthened himself by 6 times. Deacon Fu's status is not low, and the armor on his body is naturally not simple. It is a high-grade treasure armor, and under his crazy attack, it is not broken. But the next moment, he once again turned invisible and disappeared. The stealth skill basically has no cooldown time, unless the opponent's cultivation is much higher than his, or is proficient in spiritual sense detection. Otherwise, it is not easy to detect him. Deacon Fu can sense it, but only when he is close he can feel it. Where is he? Deacon Fu felt as if his hand was about to break. The strong recoil just now almost broke his arm. Now even if it is not broken, the strong counterforce made him suffer a lot of injuries again. He quickly took out the elixir, stuffed it into his mouth, and recovered. His eyes looked around, but he can't see anyone, as if he is completely invisible. Originally, the stealth skill can only be detected when he is close, and it is impossible to see from afar. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.